behind the curtain. Bing 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 ding 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 ding. Only stupid answers. Here we go. And can't keep a beat. I can't keep a beat for longer than a couple seconds. Hi everybody. Good morning.
I just like to point out that at this angle, it looks like I have a muscle.
Look, right there. That's called shading.
Yeah.
That's how you get fake abs and stuff.
I need to work on that. I need to work on my fake abs.
I have a tummy. I have a little tummy.
I know most people don't have a tummy, but I have a tummy.
I have a little tummy. Not to brag, but I got a little tummy. Mmm.
Sam, welcome back to the show.
I'm drinking unsweetened coffee because I am too socially awkward to ask for help.
What?
Yeah, because whenever you're always like, just try a little milk, try a little cream or sugar or whatever. So when I try, I'm like, oh, I made it worse. So I'm like, I'm okay with the flavor of black coffee.
Hold on.
You breaking it?
Hold on.
You getting a little angry? You want to break it?
Hold on.
He's going somewhere like you can see his shadow through. You can see his shadow through the thing. Shout out to Maggie and
Oh, jeez.
Maggie and Terry. What do you? I could have done that.
Good point.
Yeah, I didn't need to go over there.
Point. I just,
DJ wanted to put his groceries away.
Yeah.
DJ made breakfast burritos this morning. Breakfast burritos this morning. DJ's breaking shit, everybody.
I'm sorry.
All right, what are we doing today? We're talking about... Did you pull tweets?
Yeah, I did. They're in the same doc we were just in.
Oh, why did I close it then?
Because I didn't want to make a new doc.
All right, guys. So if you're joining us live, the few of you that are,
cool.
It
this
is
is
cool.
a nice little peek into the future.
Yeah. So for the holidays, DJ and I wanted to take a lee break. So
Don't sue us.
Don't sue us. So we're gonna record 2 episodes this morning, 2 what ifs.
Yeah.
One for what if Justice League, Thor, Ragnarok, the big movies.
Yeah, the big movie one, and then the big Netflix show one, which is Punisher and Defenders.
Yes,
yeah.
We're gonna do what ifs of how these shows could have played out in a different way. I got some thoughts on Justice League. I mean, most of you guys will. These are going to be bonus episodes as well. So if you're getting these now, you get the audio later, which is pretty exciting.
Do you want to do Netflix first or movies first?
Let's work our way up. Let's start with the TV shows.
Good.
I think. Yeah, is that what you're excited about?
I'm excited about both.
Are you excited for both?
It's funny. The only one I don't really have major thoughts on, are the one that everybody else had thoughts on.
Which one?
Justice League.
Really?
Yeah.
I definitely have some thoughts of how that movie definitely could have worked better.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Exactly.
But first, so we're ready to go. I'm ready.
Yeah.
We're ready to start.
Wait. Good morning to Maggie and Terry and everyone else who's joining us. Thank you and good morning. All right, and now I'm ready.
I appreciate Terry's insights on the behind the scenes of working on movies and the CG. And
Terry, tell us secrets.
Because as somebody that works on editing, I feel like there's a camaraderie there, because it's another group of people that the whole project kind of rests on. That definitely doesn't get enough time or pay for the credit for the importance of what they do.
No, everyone's always like, that CGI was fucking shitty. If that movie fucking sucked, it was like, we literally had to build it. A person didn't walk on set. I had to make him.
Yeah, literal blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
And it's like with Thanos, it's one of those that could have been practical. Give your CGI team a break, for crying out loud.
No.
They have to make a giant spinning tech wheel over New York. Maybe just have Thanos be a guy in a costume, man.
You say Thanos weird.
Thanos? Thanos, why not? Thanatos?
Tantos?
Well, that's where Thanos comes from, Thanatos. I think it's Latin for death.
Oh, I thought it was a cereal.
No.
Thanatos?
Thanatos. That seems like a Rick and Morty commercial.
Yeah, Thanatos.
Thanatos. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to a special bonus episode that's not Super TV Showdown. It's been a minute since we've done these.
These are for our holiday ones. What, are you okay?
Spanish, I'm still alive.
Okay.
Got confused for a second.
I love these bonus episodes for a couple reasons. One, we don't have to worry about any ads.
You're not wearing,
for our Patreon peeps.
You're not wearing pants too, which is...
well, live and let live.
Yeah.
Live and let die.
DJ's moving the camera, but for audio people, you don't
see that.
It means nothing to you.
Live and Let Die is one of the best and worst Bond songs. Because part of that song is really awesome, and part of it's like, why is this happening?
Oh, is it the guitar part?
Yeah, there's this weird. It gets like, and it's awesome, and then it's like, Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Like, why is this happening? Where did this go?
You ever? We're gonna be doing today's a what if episode, and if you thought Justice League was made by two people, listen to that song because those are definitely two different ideas of what they want in that song. I love it though. I do like that. I have to watch some of the old Bond films. Anyways, we're getting off track, DJ.
Way off track.
What we're supposed to do today is we're going to do. This is first in a series of 2 what if episodes that we're going to do. The first today we're going to be talking about what if or how could some things change in some of our favorite superhero things for this year to make it work a little bit better. Now
or just play out differently because we're not saying that like, hey, we got all the answers and this is how they should do it.
Yeah.
This is just what fun fans do since the dawn of time. Like, hey, what if maybe Superman had worn his black costume and come from space?
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is the equivalent of you getting high or drunk with your friends at like a kickback. You're not at a party. You're just kind of chilling. You're like, man, what if this happened? And that's when you start to get angry and you're yelling at each other's tears and you're like, uh-oh, we're crying about superheroes. You know that? Everyone's been there, not just me.
Yeah, we also get the benefit of just being able to shoot the breeze about the stuff. We don't have to worry about producers or budgets or any of that stuff breathing down our necks. We just get to have some fun speculation time.
Also, this is a bonus episode, so there is a paywall behind it, so if there's angrier people out there, they won't hear it. They won't hear it. But I just want to give a shout out to people joining us live. Maggie and Terry, thank you so much. Okay, so sorry, we didn't even say what we're going to talk about. Today, in our first part, we're going to be talking about the Netflix Marvel series Defenders.
Yep.
And Punisher. Now, things that could change or maybe work a little differently to boost it up or just end up a little different. And if you guys check out next week, because this is for the audio podcast, it's going to be coming out a week later for your holiday listening, for your goodies. Check your stocking because there's a little ear goodie in there.
And also, our main episodes for the holidays, I think, are really rad. I'm really excited.
There's some special guests coming.
Yeah, I'm really hoping people get excited for that stuff because I think they're some of the best stuff we've done.
I'm very excited. But also the second episode is going to be Justice League and Thor Ragnarok, which we have plenty of thoughts on. But today we're going to be talking about Marvel, Netflix stuff. Let's do it chronologically. Defenders came out first.
Defenders, and I'd like to say I really like Punisher overall, and there are moments in Defenders that I think are some of the best things. Like the episode where they finally team up is amazing.
Yeah.
So, again, this is not to say that, like, oh, these are better ideas. This is just, hey, what if?
What if? Okay, so kicking off with Defenders.
Yes.
Where do we think that some things could maybe change, or things we prefer changed a little bit? Right off the bat, I kind of wish Luke Cage and Jessica Jones had any stakes whatsoever in this, besides like my city will burn down. But it's like since that threat was
more connected to the threat.
Yeah, because that threat of this city's gonna be destroyed or whatever. Even when you showed us this like the Dragon Grave or whatever. It still wasn't. Weird. It is weird, but it still wasn't
Season 2 of Jessica Jones. She's gonna just be dealing with some corporate espionage thing, but we're gonna know in the back of our heads there's a giant dragon skeleton under the city.
Even if you dropped a building in there, there's still a dragon skeleton in there.
That skull's probably still attacked.
Yeah, that's there. And Luke Cage, the street level heroes, which is great.
Yeah,
but it's like he has to think about. There's a dragon underneath the city.
It was cool. I rewatched, as of this taping, I rewatched the first Avengers the night before. And it was cool to think about, because that's actually the big event. That's the one thing they're allowed to reference in those shows, the incident.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the big thing that sets up kind of a lot of what goes on in these shows. And it's cool to think about. Like, I wish there was a little bit... I was thinking about it as I was watching it. I don't need... Just because watching the Infinity War trailer... there's so many characters in that I worry that, like, how are you going to balance it all? Mm-hmm. So I don't necessarily need the Defenders to show up in that, but it'd be nice if there was a little bit more, like, somebody could pop in over the Defenders just a little bit more, because the world they built is really cool.
Yeah.
You know?
And they've made quality products. This is it's kind of like the same rule that the BBC had when it came to Torchwood and Doctor Who, and then the Sarah Jane stories or whatever. It was like the Doctor... can't come on to Torchwood ever. He can be mentioned, but he can't come onto the show because they don't want the younger audience going to watch the adult show Torchwood that dealt with like rape and stuff. It was serious, like adult alien sci-fi stuff, which is great. That's a really cool thing to do. Like I remember the Cybermen when they showed up in that. It was graphic. It really showed what happens to a person when that happens.
Cybermen showed up on Torchwood?
Yes,
it was. You've never seen Children of Earth, right?
No.
Children of Earth had my favorite explanation of why the Doctor didn't show up, because humanity acted so awful. One of the characters speculate, like one of the episodes begins with them like, always wondered why the Doctor wouldn't show up to certain things, and after seeing the way humanity's behaved here, I know why, because he's so ashamed of us that he just doesn't bother to show up, and it hurt. Like I highly recommend Children of Earth, man. Like that, it's cool. Really smart sci-fi.
I only watched like the first 3 episodes of Torchwood because I was like, I don't really know what this is.
I could never get into it, but I heard such amazing things about Children of Earth. That's the only one I've watched, and it's just good sci-fi. Yeah. Beyond the Doctor Who stuff, it's just good sci-fi.
That's cool, but like the rule is like, you know, some things can't. Some of the lighter stuff can't mix with the darker stuff.
It'd be hard to have Punisher show up in one of these shows.
Yeah, even if you got like a hint of him, but if you got a hint of him, I think that's okay. Like you get a hint of him in other comics and stuff. I
was thinking there was a guy in Avengers. We're getting way off topic. I'm sorry, but there was a guy in Avengers. You know when the World Council or whatever sends the nuke to New York and Fury tries to stop it, which is a great moment, by the way. Where he pulls out the bazooka, and I'm not even sure he's looking with the right eye, but he fires. But it's just a kick-ass moment. It's a great moment. But it made me think of like the guy that launches the nuke is just a soldier doing his job. It's like it would have been interesting if like one of the soldiers ended up being like Frank Castle or some shit. You know what I mean? Something like that. I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, that's tough.
But
having him being a SHIELD agent is a little tough. Yeah,
he's a little tough.
It's a little tough. It's just because SHIELD is so like it's like, you know what that means, lighthearted. Yeah. If you guys didn't know what that meant.
If you don't know Samisms.
No, but like I get why, because these shows deal with really heavy issues. Yeah. While the movies have always claimed like, yeah, we're gonna try something different, but then you realize, oh, it's a little bit of the same.
I think the heaviest,
not bad, but like,
I think the heaviest the movies get is like Winter Soldier, Civil War,
and that's pretty rough sometimes.
Yeah, Winter Soldier I think is probably the heavy. Would you say that's the heaviest?
I remember getting really emotional watching Civil War because by the end of it, when they're beating the shit out of each other, I was like, this actually hurts, because these are characters that I actually am invested in. I didn't realize how invested I was.
They do a really good job building to that final fight between Cap and Iron Man and Winter Soldier. Yeah. And also the action in those two movies is so good. Yeah. It's so good.
And it's such a good like little nugget. It's like Bucky couldn't control himself, but yeah, he definitely murdered your parents. And not like killed.
Civil War's so good. Civil War's such a good movie.
It is really good. It's Winter Soldier's tops. Civil War's just right below it.
You know what's funny? I as far as movie making goes, Winter Soldier is probably better, but I think I enjoy Civil War more. Yeah. I think it brings in that old Justice League Unlimited version of me where it's like, you see all the characters, they're doing their powers, and it's so cool.
Not to brag, but I remember when we talked about it when we were like working at SourceFed, like I mentioned that Winter Soldier was my favorite. I definitely remember you saying like you weren't that big of a fan of it.
No,
and then
never.
Really? Because I remember that you saying,
never me.
What was I talking to? Because I thought you said you went and rewatched it, and then you were...
I'm always way on board with Winter Soldier.
You say no, but I'm gonna pretend in my head.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm gonna have this win for myself.
Winter Soldier has always been. Well, again, there's only 3 Marvel movies I own: Avengers, Winter Soldier, and Civil War.
The Captain America movie from the '90s. The one where he wears that giant helmet.
Never.
Yeah.
How come they don't do what the CW shows do and like recast those people as like cameos?
I mean, they do. They kind of do. They
didn't cast that Captain America. He hasn't showed up.
I don't know if he's alive. I'm gonna be honest, but they did mention in Winter Soldier, it was like, when did Captain America learn how to steal a car? And that was actually from the Captain America movie from the '90s. Everyone's like, oh, that's a fun nod to it. Anyways, off topic again. Defenders, talking about it, the way the show worked, if you guys don't know, quick recap. Our heroes come together to fight the Hand. Sigourney Weaver, Elektra becomes evil.
Literally, that's the whole 8 episodes.
That's the whole 8 episodes.
Just describe the whole 8 episodes.
That's it. Like, that they're fighting the Hand. You thought the Hand was ninjas, but really it's like 4 ninja-ish people?
Are they? One of them, maybe.
Maybe.
Remember that one black guy on the team that was able to do pressure points that he used once on Luke Cage, and then definitely was the first of the Hand killed? Of course it was the black guy.
Of course it was the black guy. I was really glad a Punisher... I mean, a lot of people died on that show, but at least the
one supporting black character wasn't the one that...
He still got beat to shit so many times. It wasn't fair.
No, it was not.
Yeah, but he was a great character. Anyways, but that is an interesting thing to point out, because that was a really cool way of someone to fight Luke Cage.
Like, and they only used it once.
Only once!
Yeah.
I mean, that budget, they tried their best. It's shooting in New York's expensive.
Yeah, man, I honestly...
And they blew up buildings a lot. Like,
if they... I'd be down for them to shoot a bulk of these shows in, like, Canada or something, if it allowed them to do more.
Toronto.
Yeah, like... I really don't care. You know, they do a couple outside stuff in New York, shoot the rest of it in Canada, so we can get a little bit more. Sam,
we were talking to somebody once. I don't know what. I think it was at a party or something. And I won't use names for just the sake of it, but it was
John
people.
Bernthal.
There he goes. No. It was. This is no one that you guys would know or anything. But we were talking with someone, and they said that they had a minor role on these shows that came back around. Like they had to come back and like shoot something else. And they lost money because of how expensive it was to stay in New York to shoot the stuff they were doing. Because also, guys, if you don't know, like because Netflix isn't technically a TV network, it's still like web series rules. There's a lot of like when it comes to paying their actors, it's still like murky.
Is it web series rules?
Well, it's not a TV network.
Interesting.
It's not on a TV show. Yeah, so I think they've had to renegotiate since.
Yeah.
But before that, they didn't. Their agents would you negotiate and everything like that. But since they're like, well, it's not technically a TV show, it's something different. They don't have to they don't have the same rates and everything. So yeah, I mean, not great, but not to like knock Netflix or anything like that because we'd love to work with you someday. It'd be fun. But no, it was just something interesting we learned.
Only Stupid Answer show.
Yeah.
Netflix if you paid for Patreon.
Do you want this on you?
All right, Sam.
Yeah.
I have a lot of thoughts on this, so I made notes.
I think Defenders is perfect. Wouldn't change a thing.
Okay.
Actually, more Iron Fist, please.
More Iron Fist.
Please give me.
Well, that's the first one. Recast Iron Fist and have Iron Fist be a better show. Just
that. Well, that's actually. Can we agree on that? Because we're not doing an Iron Fist what if because that's
the whole just changed the whole thing.
It's like if you built like Lincoln Logs and immediately caught fire and burned down. It's like what went wrong? Every part of it. Like I don't know. Like there's nothing I can rebuild from all this ash.
Don't hire Scott Buck. This is the paywall, so I can be a little bit more honest. Don't hire Scott Buck to do anything ever.
Ever.
Lord.
I don't know how he got 2.
I don't. Yeah, man.
I think he just took it. He was just like, we literally don't have anything. And Scott's like, heard something through the door. He has like a cup to the door. He's like, oh, God, I'm so sorry. Did you get my pitch for Inhumans? I'm writing it up. It's misspelled. He's sending it sent from iPhone. It's just like, he's like, yeah, there's a Game of Thrones, but in space on Hawaii. So you get lost. It's like you get the lost
You get
feel.
all of it. In Iron Fist, cast the drunk fighter as your Iron Fist. Have it be about how people, Asian Americans or people of mixed descent, deal with identity issues in the United States.
In the biggest melting pot of all, New York.
And really,
Los Angeles now, but New York.
Spend some time emphasizing that whole idea of this underground group of fight. They explored on the one tournament episode, but the idea that there's this whole mystical underworld of warriors in New York. Dive into that. That was really interesting. That's Iron Fist. Defenders, I have a whole thing. Are you ready for my whole thing?
Do your whole thing, because I don't have notes, but I can build off of something. Go ahead. Okay. All right, everyone. Settle in.
So settle in is story time now.
And go.
So one of the big issues with this, and shockingly, even though Defenders is 8 episodes, it's an issue with Defenders too, is there tends to be too little story for the amount of time that they have allotted. So I'm gonna condense some of this stuff. So episode 1, but there's a lot of stuff that really works. So episode 1 is basically episode 1 and 2 combined, where they all come back to New York and they all start to interact with each other. So you probably get that Luke Cage Iron Fist fight in episode 2. The episode ends with Daredevil meeting Jessica Jones. You tighten that up a little bit. Then episode 2 is a little bit maybe of episode 2, but then a lot of episode 3 where they finally meet, they finally team up, they finally start taking motherfuckers down, right? Mm-hmm. So episode 3, we get in to the restaurant where they all kind of like, because I actually really like that episode when they're in the Chinese restaurant and they're all getting to know each other.
Yeah.
And you start to seed in stuff like maybe they have their big fight and they realize they need to go save their loved ones, because that was, what was that, episode 5 in the original one? But when we get to our episode 4, that's when they're like, we need to collect our friends, we need to protect them, we put them in the police station, we need to figure out how to deal with this, excuse me. And then I thought it'd be cool to have a moment where Alexandra really shows off why the Hand is so dangerous. So she confronts them and she's like, we need the Iron Fist. I'm like, hey, fuck you, bitch, we're not going to give you the Iron Fist. She's like, okay, well, here's the deal. I have, pick a number, let's say 100. I have 100 hostages throughout New York City. My ninjas have snuck in. They're ready to kill these people, and they will kill them if you don't give me the Iron Fist.
Do you want to know something that could be really scary? Sorry, just building off that a little bit. Instead of just hostages, it's just like sleeper cells, like that they showed in the Iron Fist when like the people were like one guy was at a karaoke bar, the other one was like an IT guy. It was just a mix of people that if it was like them threatening their own families that they're living with, or like their roommates and they're threatening like literally it's like them ready to go and kill people that mean the most to them, where it's like, oh no, these people are like serious threats right now because they have this life, but the hand is more important to
exactly
them. Yeah.
That's a great idea. And so basically this idea that we've infiltrated New York and we will, without launching bombs, without a big attack, hundreds of people will die. Give me the Iron Fist. And so it's like, what do we do? How do we, what the and so they give him, maybe you have that Daredevil Iron Fist fight as they try and figure out, so that maybe Danny offers himself so they don't need to make that call, but Danny ends up, like he did in the show, he ends up with the hand. This is just like the end of episode 4. Yeah. We're only halfway through the show now. So we're doing stuff. Stuff's happening. So episode 5, Danny's with them. We're already nearing what was the end game of the actual show. Danny's with them. They need to figure out a way to get in without them seeing them coming. And they're talking to Stick and like, how do we do this? And Stick's like, all right, this is what if, all right? So we get to do whatever the fuck we want here within reason, I guess. Stick is like, I know somebody that can get you in. And he takes them to the Sanctum Sanctorum, and they meet Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange was originally is one of the few original Defenders. The original Defenders in the comics are Doctor Strange, Hulk, Silver Surfer,
and Namor.
Which actually I would watch the fuck out of that movie if I'm being
honest.
I'll never get it, but I would watch the fuck out of that movie.
Yeah.
So now we incorporate Doctor Strange, and you have to consider, like, I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch has done TV. You know what I mean? You'd be blowing some budget here. You'd have to shoot some of the Defenders in Vancouver to pull this one off. But they go to Sanctum Sanctorum, and Doctor Strange is in the middle of shit. He's like, why are you bothering me with this stuff? There's a major cosmic threat coming to Earth that I need to deal with. And this is where we reveal that what makes the Black Sky. The Black Sky is the Hand's version. I honestly could not tell you what the Black Sky is in the show, so I'm going to make a Black Sky for this. The Black Sky is the Hand's version of the Iron Fist. But what makes it the Black Sky is that it's possessed by, I think the Hand has a connection to an entity called the Beast.
Yeah, it's like a demon.
You could also make it Mephisto. Which I would be down for.
Yeah.
Because are they ever going to use them in the movies? Probably not. So make it Mephisto or something. But basically Elektra's going to be possessed by this thing and become the ultimate
It makes sense also for her character.
Yeah. So, and also it applies more, because again, just whatever. So he's preparing for that. And maybe at this moment they're all like, wait, all this fucking shit is connected. Meanwhile, you probably have that Hand Elektra fight, all that shit. Do we cut the dragons? Is having her be possessed by Mephisto enough? Do we need the dragon skeleton and the immortality? I like that they wanted to keep I like that it was so petty that they just wanted to stay immortal.
Yeah.
But the dragon skeleton in the city's tough.
It's tough. When they talk about, dragons used to fly around everywhere, it's like, what? When did that happen? What magic? Was it like pilgrims came over and it was like, God, fucking dragons again. They're just flying. I can't. What am I supposed to do with crops? I don't know how to hide the crops. I don't.
Especially when
I don't know, man.
Especially when you can do stuff like have it be one of the things from Avengers, one of those giant dragons. I'm bummed they never made one of those dragons. That's another what if. What if in Iron Man 3, the Mandarin had his rings, but they was made up of one of those dragons from Avengers, and he called it Fing Fang Foom. Whatever, but that's another thing for another day.
Okay, thinking about it. Does Mephisto take the form of a dragon, and that way it kind of like ties back a little bit? The Iron Fist gets ability from the dragon, or do you like get like a duality thing where it's like the dragon symbolizes eternal life and goodness and protection?
And Mephisto equals stuff. Not those things.
Is evil and blah blah blah.
Okay, here I think we figured it out. So the goal is immortality. Mephisto's promised them immortality if they give him a vessel. So they still get the immortality. We don't have to worry about dragon skeletons under the city. Bothering me for every one of these Netflix shows from here on to eternity. Yeah. And so that's the deal. So Doctor Strange preparing that. They realize like, oh shit, it's the same thing. And Doctor Strange does this weird portal thing while they go have their big fight in episode. Where are we now? Episode 6 is now the big battle under the building with the Hand. And meanwhile, Doctor Strange is back in the Sanctum Sanctorum, so we don't have him on. We don't have to move him around a lot. Basically, he shoots on the same set the whole time. It's like 2 days. So we get Benedict Cumberbatch for like 2 days. But he's battling the Mephisto on like the cosmic plane. It's shots of him meditating. Yeah. In whatever the budget can afford to do mystic wise. But so They're trying to keep Elektra from being possessed. They're trying to save the day. Big fight. I don't know if we blow up the building. I don't have a contingency plan for the building being blown up.
When does Misty not get her arm chopped off?
No. Okay, all right. Well, the building probably collapses, and Daredevil, quote unquote, dies. And they think Elektra dies. She doesn't. She gets possessed by Mephisto and takes over the hand. And to keep her from being possessed. So basically, while Doctor Strange is fighting Mephisto on the astral plane, Daredevil's trying to compel. Now there's a reason for him to try and compel Elektra, other than like, why the fuck are you sticking around? No, literally, I have to stick around, or the ultimate evil will possess my girlfriend and murder everybody in the world. Building collapses. He fails. They think Daredevil's dead. Elektra survives possessed. She's leading the hand. She activates the sleeper cells. I thought it'd be really cool because they didn't do this in the episode. We set all of our supporting characters in one building, and we barely spent any time with them. So the episode 7, the building collapses. It looks like all the defenders are donezo. So we have a whole episode. Elektra survives. She activates the sleeper cells. So all these ninjas are attacking the police station with our supporting characters. So it's Foggy, Karen, Trish, what's his face, the
friend
guy.
Yeah.
You get it. All the and then Karen and
Colleen.
Colleen and Misty trying to defend the police station without Luke Cage, without Jessica Jones, without Iron Fist. It's just them using their wits to try and survive this ninja assault. Meanwhile, Doctor Strange got hurt in his battle with Mephisto, like the stupid comic book shit, it manifested in the real world. So Claire was with them. She's trying to patch up Doctor Strange. So
that way you have Night Nurse and stuff.
Yeah, so Claire has actually something to do and isn't just Luke Cage's girlfriend. And
remember when they did it on the table?
I'm still keep that.
Yeah, keep that.
I mean, I'm not against keeping that. So it's Misty and Wong trying to save Strange. I would love to see. Not Misty, Claire and Wong. I would love to see that combo. This is where Misty loses her arm. All looks lost. Like, it looks bad. Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, so do the last. Like, our guys do a good job, but they don't have superpowers. So our heroes show up, they save the day, but we find out Daredevil didn't make it. So now, ninja cells have been activated over the city. Our heroes are back, but it's bad news bears. So somehow, I haven't figured this out. Maybe they go on Trish Talk.
I had an idea. So you get the ninjas attacking the police districts. 4 different districts. So you have your 3 heroes going out because Daredevil's dead, or we think he's dead. So you have like Luke Cage in Harlem. You have Jessica Jones in Hell's Kitchen, wherever she is. Iron Fist in downtown, wherever I don't know where his stuff was.
Richtown.
Yeah, and then there's the 4th one happening somewhere else because it's 4 attacks because you gotta get the 4 because 4 people. And you're like, who's gonna be Pete Castiglione? He comes out, Punisher's just mowing him down. You're like, oh no, it's so much worse. It's not fun anymore. It's not fun. These are families. These people have families. They can't control themselves. They're all dead. Oh my god, it's not good. And Pete's like, he gives the same nod he did to Daredevil, and everyone's like, no, this is awful. This is awful.
I love it.
This is awful.
So our heroes come back, but they're like, how do we save the day here? Maybe they go to Trish's radio station or whatever, and Luke Cage puts out a thing like, hey, the vigilante Daredevil risked his life, sacrificed his life for you guys. This is your city. Your city is under threat. New York comes together. And so we get, like, remember Arrow season 4 where
or Spider-Man's episode 1.
There you go. Episode 1, wherever. But Luke, the Defenders rally the city to fight against the ninjas. So it's the Defenders plus New York against.
You would definitely get like Harlem behind them because like the whole city believes in Harlem.
But I was thinking it'd be cool if
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage, if they're like Daredevil, and so people start spray painting D's or the double D's. Hey, we're uniting. Yeah. And so that's where you get the double D's when Daredevil comes back, but it also symbolizes defenders. That's where they get I was thinking maybe after the battle there was 1 D and then somebody else spray painted the rest of the defenders after it, so that's where they get the name. But it's
the defenders.
The defenders. But I figure if Arrow can do a giant, like the city versus the bad guys thing, come on, defenders can do it. Yeah. So they fight. Doctor Strange probably shows up, probably knocks fucking Mephisto out of Elektra. She scampers away. She does whatever the supervillain equivalent is. The day is saved. That's our final big battle. And then of course we end with the like, oh, Daredevil's not dead. Stay tuned for season 3.
All right.
That's it. That's it. That's all I got.
That's a pretty good pitch. But so what we have now. Here's a question: how do we make Finn Jones better? What's a way we can make kind of fix him in the series like itself? I think we're left
done the best they can.
I think they left a pretty good tease of like Luke Cage putting him in his place, him kind of calming down a little bit about it. Thundering dumbass is one of the best lines these shows have ever had. I really like that. So far, your pitch is pretty good, but you didn't have Punisher in there, so I think my thing put it over. I think my pitch put it over the top of him just mowing down
people. I mean,
it's like it's a full like Gatling gun, just like, oh, you're aiming at buildings, like you don't aim up at windows.
It would be interesting if, because he's in hiding in that point, if he got roped in without like going full Punisher mode.
You know, you gotta
like revealing himself.
You gotta get this. You gotta get this. Yeah. You gotta get Trish in a Hellcat costume. You gotta get hit.
Do you think we're gonna get that at some point? We got to, right?
We got Defenders to. 2? By Defenders 2, you're gonna get Hellcat.
Because Daredevil knows the guy that makes the costumes.
You can get Kingpin. You can see Kingpin like maybe he just like is sneaking out of his prison. He's fighting people or something like that.
I did have an idea that I thought about floating about the one. Don't bring back what's his face. The Five Fingers of the Hand.
Tease. Kingpin gets out.
Yeah.
He rounds up a bunch of the hand that's still like activated, and once by the end of it something happens, they get deactivated, and they're like, do you want them sleeper cells, like they don't know what they're doing and eventually kind of like knock out of it, or do you want people who are like in hiding?
I was thinking in hiding, but
if it was a magic thing, what if it was a magic thing? So that way Mephisto kind of ties back into it a little bit. Like these people were whammied at some point, and now they're being activated. That's why it's like they can't control themselves. Yeah. So once they like get de-whammied, classic term, scientific term, Kingpins round up like 20, 30 of these guys, and like they're all like freaking out. They're like, where are we? They're like, and Kingpin's like, just so you know, you just murdered 20, 30 cops in the city. Like, you don't have a life anymore. We have pictures of you, but I can give you an opportunity somewhere else. And he starts to build up a different empire.
There you go.
And he's got ninjas.
Yeah.
Kingpin's got ninjas.
Well, and he led the hand for a minute.
Yeah, see? And then that way, it starts to build up his empire again. Because right now, where we left it is that he has control. He has an empire in
prison.
And it was kind of coming to, like, the end of his funds. Like, he didn't have more money to keep like the people away from attacking him in prison, and like that's why he let the Punisher go and like as a distraction. So I think he could get out or something like that, because that Kingpin we saw in that is terrifying in season 2. He was really cool. I think that'd be a fun tease for the future, as like if the Defenders would definitely need to go up against Kingpin.
I also thought about the idea that the Five Fingers of the Hand had been basically, they lost the guy in Iron Fist. I wouldn't bring him back. And then have who's the guy in Daredevil season 2 that got killed?
Season 2?
The ninja guy that was like a lieutenant in the Hand.
From season 1. From season 1 they came back.
He came back on 2 and then was killed by Stick in 2.
He was Nobu.
Mm-hmm. Have those two guys be Fingers of the Hand, so there's only 3 left. Mm-hmm. And then the possibility of them resurrecting Purple Man and bringing in Kingpin, or like some or I tried to figure out a way to include Purple Man, them resurrecting Purple Man, and maybe including Black Mariah to incorporate Luke Cage and Jessica Jones more.
Make a new Hand in New York.
Yeah, or the other thing was, when I was thinking about the idea of them making an army to fight back, Luke Cage going to Black Mariah, and maybe incorporating Nuke. What's his face?
Nuke,
like Jessica, incorporate Simpson, incorporate Luke Cage and Jessica Jones villains, or maybe have them go to Kingpin and be like, hey, you have foot soldiers left. We need to use them. So they have to like make a deal with their own deal with the devil to stop the bad guys.
That's pretty cool. Also, Purple Man, you can make a really cool rig of him wearing like a face mask so he can't talk.
Yeah.
And they like make little earplugs for themselves so he can't like affect them.
Oh
wait! It starts working over TV. Never mind. I don't know if it works. I don't know if there's a way to block it.
I was thinking, like, because they could control Elektra, like, they resurrect him and they assume they can control him, but it's like, we all know better. Once Purple Man got involved, it's like, it starts becoming, he's so powerful that, like...
I like him to be underestimated, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh.
Yeah, there's no way you include him and he doesn't become the big bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Purple Man versus Kingpin would be really interesting, or him sending Kingpin after him, like Kingpin versus Luke Cage would be really interesting. Really quick, Kate Houlihan in the chat says Frank should have a real heart-to-heart with Finn, with Iron Fist. Oh man, he would. A fist fight would be really interesting, but Frank would put him in his place really fast.
So you asked how to make Iron Fist better. Don't have him have his own show, have him just be a supporting character on Luke Cage.
Or Daredevil. Like, I mean, or anything.
Heroes for Hire.
But no, Heroes for Hire, but also a hand-to-hand, like, like him fighting hand-to-hand with Daredevil. He has a lot of respect for what Daredevil does.
Yeah.
And him being like a sidekick a little bit, just like putting him in his place would be really interesting too. I would like to, in the comics, they always have like fire coming off of the Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Put a little of that in there. Put a little spark.
He's also able to use his like feet and stuff. Dude, you started reading Defenders. He does some really cool stuff in Defenders.
It's really cool. He's much more likable.
Oh yeah.
And by the end
his
of
conversation with Kingpin.
Yeah.
That's a great moment when he has that kind of like headbutt with Kingpin. It's really cool.
And at the end of this series of season 1 of Defenders, it was teased that he was going to pay for Misty getting a new arm, which was really cool. Do that more. Pull an Iron Man. That's always not. It never gets old. It never really gets old of him like buying something.
Speaking of rewatching Avengers, man, Robert Downey Jr. is so good in these movies.
Yeah,
he's so good.
Robbie.
It's just it blows me away. Like whatever. Anyway, it's just they really lucked out in being able to cast him because he's doing really great work.
He do good BBs. And if let's think. I really wish that one of these shows tackled the more crazy stuff that's happened in like the rest of the MCU. Like talk about
Doctor Strange in my version.
I know you do, but I think we should get a tease of Spider-Man in some way. I think that'd be really cool.
I wonder,
talk about Ultron. That's a big thing.
Yeah, Ultron's a big thing. I wish they tackled Ultron more in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I could do a whole what if on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think Coulson should have been a robot, which ties back into like in Age of Ultron they could have brought back Coulson as a robot as something like Tony made happen.
Yeah. And
so in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. you get him dealing with like, I'm not the real Coulson, but I have all the real Coulson, all that classic shit.
Yeah.
But then it actually ties into, one, you never actually brought Coulson back, so it still makes his death mean something Avengers. And two, there's a way to bring him back in the movies that tie in.
Do you remember in season 1 when they brought him back and it was just the shot of him on the table with his brain out and he's like, let me die, let me die. It was morbid. Yeah. It was not fair.
And that also ties into Deathlock better. Like I feel like it would have tied up a lot of things a lot better.
Yeah. I did have a pitch. Oh, talking about the superhuman registration would make a lot of sense for these street level people because they're not being tracked by the police. The police are, I mean, not by most police, but some of the police are helping them. So that's a huge issue. And Kingpin getting behind that as a proponent of like, yeah, you need to monitor these people. This is a serious thing. And right now they're kind of leading to in the Daredevil comic that Kingpin is mayor. Obviously, like tying back to Trump and everything like that. But it would be really interesting for him to run on that platform. I know he was running for mayor or something in the first season. Him doing a comeback and being like, no, the vigilantes like demolish a building in downtown, like they. What did Iron Fist do? Like, there's ninjas, there's plenty of things to pull from. Oh, in Luke Cage, like, there were RPGs launched in a major neighborhood.
Well, also Luke Cage, they had the superhuman killer bullets.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a really cool, interesting thing. The politics on that got a little muddled. Like, anyway.
Yeah.
But stuff like that, I think you could tie into that. Also, it's interesting. I don't know how the movies would do it, but like touching on the fact that they're Inhumans. Like these shows don't even touch on the fact that they're Inhumans running around. Also, when the fuck are we gonna get Daredevil versus Absorbing Man?
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Because Crusher Creel was part of his origin.
Yeah. Is he still alive? I don't know.
I think so. I think because he was working for what's his face for a minute.
Talbot.
Yeah. So it's like Daredevil season 3. Once Kingpin finds out who it is, why wouldn't he bring up Absorbing Man to fight him? I want that fight.
That'd be really cool. Also, their Absorbing Man's pretty good. Yeah. They actually really nailed that casting. He looks a lot like It's also just a bald white guy who does it.
He does look a little young based on the timeline, but whatever.
No, it wasn't. It was
also that actor's actually a lot older than he looks. He actually looks pretty good for his age.
No, but also the Crusher Creel, the one they teased in the fight, I think was the dad of Crusher Creel.
I
could be wrong.
I think it was supposed to be him, but he was a young person. Whatever.
Yeah.
Who knows? We're never going to see it. He's never going to come on.
Yeah, he might be older, but I don't know. I don't know how it worked. Did they ever explain his powers? No, they were just there.
What would you think about what ifing here for a minute? What would you think about if they made Mockingbird kind of the Black Widow of the TV shows, and so she showed up on Daredevil and had a similar relationship to Daredevil as she did. Black Widow does too.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
I have a little hiccup, and it's gone.
I also thought it would have been cool instead of Jeremy Renner is a very good actor, and he's fine as Hawkeye. But it would have been cool if they cast somebody they could have put on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to have, like, right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like the Hawkeye in the movies, the Hawkeye in the show, and that's our tie-in.
That'd be cool. I think we have a pretty good pitch for Defenders.
What about Punisher?
Let's talk about Punisher. This, I talked about it on the main episode when we discussed this show. I thought it was a really consistent show. Yes. And there's definitely some stuff I would change. I like the idea of him going into hiding, him wrapping it up, but him coming back in because of this tragedy. Or this uncovering that, no, this actually goes further back. These are actually your brothers who made it look like there was like gang violence that caused this to happen. It was actually, that gang violence does tie back to them as well, because you were a hitman. You didn't know you were, but you were a hitman. Of course, Punisher is. Of course he was tricked into doing that. And his whole relationship with Billy and everything like that. Things I'd change is how they handled Lewis. I think that's the biggest problem. My big thing is, if you guys don't know, the Punisher series talked about how his commanding officer, not the one he killed in Daredevil season 2, but the man above that, the one above, he was taking the bodies of people they had killed in Afghanistan, whether it be soldiers or POWs, and they would send them back to the States filled with heroin or meth or whatever they were, drugs. Drugs. Yeah.
Classic.
Terrible. That's horrible. And actually, that's exactly what happens in the comics with the character. I did a breakdown of it. That's exactly what he did too.
Yeah.
Hiding drugs in the bodies of people they'd killed and the soldiers. But that's what they dealt with. And then the side plot for that was you're following a veteran, young kid, youngish. He was like 26, who was very mentally not okay after the war, and it turned in basically based on circumstances of like him being betrayed and losing trust in things, he became a what is it? A domestic terrorist.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
From inside. He's from inside. Yeah. Indoors. He's from indoors. Yeah. And that was a really interesting choice. What happened after that? They really bungled it.
Yeah,
bungled together. Bungled's better than fumbled. It still works. Also, whenever they talked about the gun issue, they bungled it as well.
It was really like they had a very clear like anti-gun straw man that didn't have any cogent points at all, and so
it was weird. It was anti-gun and pro-gun, but they never got to the root of both sides' point of view for them.
No.
And that it basically was like, well, we just can't. Like, we can't. And to be fair, like we talked about this before, it didn't need to.
Because the
maybe
situation
season 2.
Was different.
Yeah, maybe season 2 that could have been a big thing. But when you get into that in these shows, fine. Talk about how Captain America just like was just shooting random people and like, sure, it's a war, but he's shooting people. Like, we don't talk about like that. This is big. This is a big problem.
They don't. These shows don't do Marvel doesn't do a very good job of interrogating its soldier heroes. I don't think it's done a very good job interrogating Cap's morality. It just assumes Cap is right all the time, unquestionably, and he's not. And I wish the movies would like, because in Winter Soldier, I love Winter Soldier, but he's like, back in World War II, we knew we did the right things all the time, and all this stuff. I was like, no. You did some fucked up shit in World War II. Like, it was war. Like,
they can talk. They brought that up. They're like, we did it.
They didn't really like.
They justified it.
Yeah, like, and it's similar with. Obviously, Frank is a lot more morally gray than Captain America.
What?
But the weird part is like everybody's so effusively in love with Frank by the end. Like everybody's defending him. Everybody treats him like he's a fucking saint. And it's like, I get that you like him.
Yeah.
But they treat him like he's Captain America.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe dial that back a bit, because that seems a little. Even Madani, who's been hunting him most of the season, is like, no, he's fucking great, and I love him. It's like, that seems a little.
I mean, to be fair,
maybe
Billy just burned her more than Frank did.
Yeah, but so that explains maybe letting him go, but not treating him like he's a fucking saint.
Yeah, he's not a friend anymore.
Yeah.
He's definitely not a friend at all. Like he just helped you. And
can I make a suggestion on the Lewis thing?
Yeah, because I have some ideas, but go for it.
No, you do. I've got notes.
Oh, no, so I'm just winging it. Here comes the improv training, everybody. You ready? Buckle up. So for me, I like the progression of Lewis. I thought it was interesting, and you had an opportunity there to talk about the Punisher in a way of like, he's kind of doing the same thing that Lewis is doing on a smaller scale. And yes, he's not bombing people, but now I feel like you're splitting hairs a little bit, just a little bit, because you're still taking the law into your own hands.
Well, don't forget,
and murdering
Punisher
people.
said, "I only kill people that I looked in the eye,"
He's
which
like,
is definitely not true.
Not true. You didn't do that.
And also a weird argument to make. Yes, that mother of three, I killed that mother of three, but I looked her in the eye when I did it, so it's okay, everybody.
Yeah. So for me, I would have liked Lewis after the events of him attacking Curtis, stopping there. Stop right there. Like you already made a decision that clearly you're not okay with. Like you don't have the heart to go through with this.
Yeah.
So don't go again. You win again. You just backpedaled on what you were doing. Like you were like things were getting off the rails. You were attacking the one mentor you had, like that was still around, that you could trust. I'm like, and now you're choosing not to kill him.
Yeah.
Like, okay, stop there. And from there, that's where it's getting a little muddled of where we go, because blowing him up doesn't make any sense. And there's no metaphor there for anything that helps Frank's character progress. DJ, your ideas now, because I'm
okay.
Yeah, I had an idea and I'm blanking.
No, that's fine. Same concerns. I had some other ideas of like how to retool the whole season, but it's like no, really the season works.
Yeah,
it's just the Lewis shit kind of like throws it out of whack.
Yeah.
So this is gonna get dark, but it's Punisher, okay? So of course it was. Let's not pretend otherwise.
Yeah.
So,
but it was respectful. It was respectful.
It was respectful, and I'd like to keep
the viewers
that,
and to veterans and to
So, Lewis, I would have Lewis coming to the help group specifically because he knows Curtis served with Frank Castle, and Lewis admires the Punisher. So immediately, it's not just like happenstance that this guy is in this group. Like, he's already got this weird like, the Punisher. You know what I mean? And so that's why he starts coming in the group, and as he's in the group, he starts. You start seeing some of the fractures in his psychology, I guess is the word, and he gravitates toward that NRA fake veteran guy. At this point we don't know he's fake, but like that fake veteran guy who has very toxic views, and so he starts taking on some of those toxic views, some racist, anti-government, you know, and when he finds out, I probably would take out the scene where they're handing out NRA pamphlets with
take out the cop
because it doesn't apply to the real world that we live in. Really.
Yeah, I mean there are problems with cops, but what happened there was the unbelievable part.
Yeah, not for the white guy.
Yeah.
Once he finds out that guy's a fake veteran, that's where he feels betrayed because he's already feeling betrayed by the government. There's nobody. He feels unsupported. He feels like people don't like. I really love the exchange in the actual show that he has with Curtis, where he wishes he had an injury like Curtis, and the implication being he wants physical evidence of the pain he's going through, because he doesn't have that physical evidence. He feels like nobody understands what he's going through. But in this situation that I'm creating here, because of the toxic views he's taking on, he's antagonistic towards Curtis because Curtis is black. So that's why he's not really letting Curtis in. So once he finds out that vet is fake, he probably goes through the whole Anvil thing not being included in that stuff, where he was trying to be an Anvil and then it got out, which again distances from Curtis more. He kills the fake vet,
which it was painful, but that was a really bold decision, and I liked that decision.
Killing the
fake vet.
Yeah,
because also he attacked him, and
so
he was protecting himself. He did snap and keep stabbing him, that's where the
and so this is where the switch flips for Lewis, and he decides that the government is corrupt. He becomes an anti-government, like his own thing, and he decides as far as the world knows, Punisher's dead. So he takes a bulletproof vest, paints the skull on it, takes a ski mask, paints the skull on it, goes into a public building, maybe a government building, shoots it up as the Punisher, claims to be the Punisher.
Oh, does he shoot the wall like with a machine gun to make a skull shape? Kind of like
exactly.
when Superman does like a Superman symbol on the wall? Yeah, that's what he does. He just...
it was a lot of work, but it was worth it.
A lot of clips. Yeah. He went through clips,
So instead of it being bombs, he goes and does a mass shooting event as the Punisher, claims to be the Punisher, which of course gets him on Frank's radar. And this is how we interrogate Frank's morality. Like, I would never do this. This is civilians. And I would have the episode where he comes after the senator probably plays out similarly, but their confrontation, I would have it be more along the lines of Frank is like, listen, I didn't go after anybody that wouldn't do the exact same thing to me. They were murderers, they were killers. I didn't kill anybody that didn't have it coming. And I would have Lewis's response be, not yet.
That's pretty good.
Because it's that idea that like, so far Punisher, we're cool with Punisher because he's killed a bunch of bad people. But he's still a person.
Also,
he doesn't have super morality.
You could also take the stance of, I'm just getting the job done ahead of time. You could because it's like, yeah, sure, you're attacking people that are immediately attacking you, but these people, like, if he went into like the state senate office, or he went into a congressman's office, like he went to Ori's office and he attacked people. He's like, these people are passing laws that take away our freedoms, and if we don't take care of this soon, we're not going to be able to have any freedom of our own. I don't agree with that personally, but I can understand where he's coming from.
It's you can understand the train of thought that led him there, even though it's way off track.
I would like his obsession with the Punisher. I would like that he at first is trying to understand why a veteran would turn and start attacking people, but as he gets more connected with the guy who's the NRA guy, he starts to understand it more. Not that the fake veteran is pro Punisher. It's that his own things outside of it are making him understand where Frank's coming from.
And it forces Frank. It's a more direct forces Frank to deal with his own morality and where he draws the line. It also deals with, like, I would have cops defending the Punisher because, like, he killed criminals, and so, like, another cop would be like, oh, cool, so we're okay with somebody going just murdering people as long as it's the people we're okay with them murdering. And you know what I mean? So there's no answers here. But it more directly deals with that conflict. I would have Karen, instead of going on that one weird radio station, have it be Trish Talk. And so then, and have the senator, instead of being a weird, like, anti-gun person, he's pro-gun. So you have the senator representing pro-gun, you have Trish representing anti-gun, be liberal conservative, and then Karen gets to be kind of the middle ground, because the Karens are already a main character on the show. If we're trying to have a more balanced argument, if that's the goal of the show, then we put that in the mouth of Karen, and so she's in between them. So, like, Trish will make something like, all guns should be unallowed. Don't you agree, Karen? Karen's like, well, I have a handgun. And that guy's like, yeah, guns are great. She's like, well, yeah, it's not an automatic weapon. Like, it's still a handgun.
And it would have made more sense for her character, because she's not pro-Punisher, she's pro-Frank. And because Frank's her friend. And that makes more sense than her, because I have friends that we don't agree on everything. That doesn't mean I just will go out publicly, like, agreeing with them just because they're my friend. It's like, you don't need to sacrifice your values. Like, now she's owned a gun and she has killed people, but she did it out of self-defense. She doesn't need to admit to that on air, because that's a crime. And again, that's now you have another hole in this.
Well, and that's the thing, is if the idea is you want people to confront their views on these issues, that you kind of do it in this way, and you don't necessarily you give them 2 + 2 and let them come to 4 on their own.
How do you get the showdown then with Lewis and Lewis and Punisher going after the senator and Karen?
Because he's anti-government. And I thought about that too, because now it's not some anti-gun guy, it's a pro-gun guy. But he's government. And he also is trying to get Karen too, and so he knows they're going to be having that interview.
I like the idea of him going after Karen because he's insecure. It's Karen called him out. He can't handle it because clearly this guy has mental issues, and so that's some good storytelling. But I still think you didn't need to talk about the pro-gun stuff. I think don't have a debate. Toss that. Toss the senator. Toss all that, because it was dumb. Like, maybe just make it now that Karen's going on and it becomes a discussion about Punisher and vigilantes and the extremes that either of them go to. Maybe the gun's being brought up. Maybe. I still don't think you need to touch on it. And maybe make the argument about how veterans are treated, and you have someone from Veteran Affairs come in and talk, and Karen's also brought in.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. But if you're gonna do the gun thing, I would do it in this way. And then once Frank saves the senator has a come to Jesus moment where he's like, because people are pro Punisher because he's killing criminals, and so instead of becoming pro gun, he becomes pro vigilante. And then we're doing what if. So I'm gonna go big here. I would have a subplot where at the very beginning, and I told you it was gonna get dark. It gets dark. You have a guy, what was it, Trayvon Martin, that had the hoodie and was just shot? You have a Trayvon Martin. And that's a subplot where our own famous lawyer that's still around, Foggett Nelson, Foggy, he goes by Foggy for short.
What is his first name? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
But he's it's the not the defendant, because that would be the shooter. It'd be the plaintiff, I think. The one that's suing this person that shot their kid.
I'm totally blanking. Go ahead.
And so this is a subplot, not a big deal, but it's this trial where this guy is on trial for just shooting a random kid that he thought was dangerous. And of course, this pro-gun senator is for this guy. Then it becomes, as he becomes pro-vigilante, he sees, like, You know, what does it take to stop a bad guy with a gun? A good guy with a gun, like the Punisher, like this guy. And that's just, and by the end of the show, by the way, I don't think I said this, the whole point of the Lewis thing, him claiming to be the Punisher, it's the same plot function that originally in the show. It's the Punisher coming out as the real Punisher and basically protecting his identity, I guess. Like, no, this real Punisher doesn't kill civilians. But anyway, and so at the end, this is important because at the end, last couple episodes, that guy gets off, like these killers so often do, with just shooting a random kid. And I would make a thing with Frank and Curtis where Curtis kind of like, Frank, man, I love you, but you're not letting me help you. And so I can't, like, because if you think about it, every time Curtis gets sucked into Frank's orbit, he's tortured basically. Yeah. And he's like, and you're not,
at least twice.
Yeah, you're choosing not to get, like, you're not helping anybody. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping your family. They're gone. Yeah. But I love you, man, and I'm here for you. You should come to my thing. Last episode, he's setting up the chairs. He leaves one chair for Frank. Frank doesn't show up. The guy that got off for killing the kid sits at home. He's under police protection. He's sitting at home. In the chair across from him is Frank. Punisher garb. Shoots the guy. You know what I mean? And this is and like I would have a moment. Honestly, I would have a moment where the guy's like, "Listen, these," uses the N-word, or you know what I mean? Like these
Punisher
people.
Saying this, or
no,
the other guy?
The other guy. The other guy. I would have both Lewis and this guy couch their, like, "Listen, I'm taking out the bad people too." List off a bunch of ethnicities. You know what I mean? And Frank, because if you're looking to distance Frank from these people, that's what a lot of these mass shooters, they go
after race.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so, and the impression I get of the Frank represented is that's not part of his spectrum at all. Yeah. And so you emphasize that. Because if we're trying to say, hey, Punisher's better than these people, well, here's a clear and easy way to do that. Yeah. And so he decides, because this also for me helps the whole point of the home episode, second to last episode, is him deciding not to go be with his family in the afterlife, to keep being the Punisher and being vengeful. And then he gives it up. Yeah. So this is like, no, he's made a decision. Punisher is his life now. And so he doesn't go to the thing to be with Curtis, and he goes and kills this guy. And I think that, for me, what that would do is, if you're trying to have people deal with these issues, now you have the Punisher going after somebody that liberals are against. So theoretically they should be for it, but they're against the Punisher's methods. And so now you have a moment as a viewer of like, I don't know how I feel about this, because this person is vile. He killed somebody, and the justice system failed us and did not punish him, and the Punisher did, but that's wrong. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think if I were in charge of a Punisher series, that's the feeling I'd want to leave audiences with. Like, I don't know how to feel about this.
And while I do like how this show ended when it came to...
I do too. That's not to say I do like the ending. You know, it's just more uplifting than I expected.
But even choosing to not, to stay and be the Punisher and finish the job, and then going to group, it means that there's more to life after you lose somebody. Yeah. Yes, I know there is the romantic way of looking at it. It's like, well, I can't live without this other person. Even that's even a physical thing that happens to some people, that they die after their spouse dies a couple days later. That does happen. But if you're young and you lose somebody, that does not mean your life's over. Yeah. And that's a hard thing for people. And this show's a really good way of looking at grief. Like, it's that. Yeah, even when... Because I was rewatching it because I was doing a breakdown. I was, like, looking at some scenes. Even when after he kills Agent Orange, he looks into the blood puddle and he sees a reflection of his wife. He's haunted constantly. That doesn't mean that this... It means that he can also move on. Yeah. He can move on. But not get over it, but move on.
And I think that's an important point. The counterpoint is there is also a way to look at that says, like, hey, you can go be a motherfucker and there aren't consequences. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, true. You can just go and it's fine. And so maybe you have a Lewis that represents the darkest version of Punisher. Maybe you also need another character that does get that redemption arc without necessarily giving it to Frank, because you need to acknowledge the stuff that Frank does takes a toll. Yeah. You know?
Really quick. So by the end of this season, Frank has come back to life, like in the eye of the public. And then Pete Castiglione can continue living. When did Frank die again? Yeah. When did Frank die again?
I don't know. I thought all that stuff was like, hey, you're just now free to go, was like, okay, sure.
It was too neat. Yeah. I do like yours because it does a better job of leaving it open to another season.
It is dark.
It is dark, but it does leave it open because now he's at peace and he has to choose to do it. Yeah. Which before there was some justification story-wise, not not real world stuff, but story-wise, it was that, oh, there's an extension to what happened to my family that I can wrap up now. Yeah. And it's way more heartbreaking than just killing random people that I don't know. This is like a family member that did it to me.
Yeah.
And that's really compelling. With yours, it means that not only has he moved past that, now he is just punishing people that hurt other people.
Yeah.
In this scenario, he's gotten over it.
Yeah.
Now, the only way you could go...
It's the happiest ending you could ever... And it's the happiest ending I've ever seen to a Punisher story.
Yeah, and the only thing you can go from here is by taking away Micro or his family, or Madani, and that sucks.
Oh, I hate to say it, but I choose Madani.
Yeah, but based on how these shows work, it'd probably be Micro's family.
It's probably at least one of Micro's kids, if not the whole family, like one
or
of
the
Micro's
wife,
kids.
probably the wife, and you'll leave the kids. Which I really hope it's not the son that gets like left behind, because that son is not.
Yeah, if they kill one of Micro's family, I sacrifice the son.
Yeah, that sucks.
The son's a little shit.
Okay, so I think we're reaching a natural end. I think. Out of those two shows, Punisher's tighter.
Yes,
there's just
agreed.
Which
is weird because it's 13 episodes compared to 8.
Yeah, and I think it's the best use of the 13 episode model, because I was actually invested to keep watching.
Yeah.
We didn't do a stream this year, and that helped. I've never watched one of these Marvel shows on a normal rate.
Yeah.
And watching the show, I wanted to keep watching when I was watching in my free time, but when I wanted to go to sleep, I wanted to sleep. And I picked it up in the morning, and I watched the last 3 episodes, and they were awesome.
I'm very excited for a Punisher season 2. One, because I like the setup of Jigsaw. I thought, who's the actor who plays Billy Russo?
Ben Barnes.
I thought he did really good.
He did.
I thought
really cool.
I thought him and good lord, my brain. John Bernthal.
Yeah.
I thought their rapport was really great. And the one thing, and I don't want anything to happen to Micro's family, but if you want me to come back for a season 2, I need Frank and Micro together. That was my favorite part of the show.
It was really cool, and Ben Barnes is. He's up there with like Purple Man as one of the best antagonists you've had.
Are all the best Marvel antagonists the TV show ones?
Yeah, they've nailed it. Like I don't know how you've done such a good job.
Purple Man, you got Billy, you got Ward. I think is up there for me.
Kingpin.
I don't know if Kingpin's up there.
Season 2 Kingpin is terrifying. Give him another chance, because I think
he'll be good in season 3.
Yeah, because clearly, what's his name? Who plays him? Who plays Kingpin?
D'Onofrio, Vincent D'Onofrio.
He loves it.
Oh yeah,
he loves.
He's way into it,
and that's why I'm excited for him. I really like that.
Because for the movies, you
also
have, like,
Cottonmouth. Cottonmouth was really good, and Mariah was really good as well.
I'm excited for that's another one.
Shades,
Shades and Mariah. I'm excited for Luke Cage season 2, and I'm really excited for Isaiah Mustafa. He's playing the new big bad in season 2, and
Do we know who the character is?
Yes, it's Bushmaster.
I don't know.
He's more obscure, but that actor, he was in Brawl in Cell Block 99. He was the cop, the first cop that Vince Vaughn took out, the guard.
Wait, I thought that guy. Wait, okay, hold on. Let me see if I get my characters.
He's also
right.
He's also in The Deuce. He's really tremendous. So I'm excited for that. But the only like movie villains that I feel make that list is like Loki. I like Zemo.
Yeah,
but he doesn't make like a big impression. But I like him.
Mm-hmm. What was that actor's name? Mustafa, you said?
Isaiah Mustafa, I believe.
Let's see if this is the same guy. Yeah. Okay.
Mustafa Shakir. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. I was trying to get it. I thought. Okay. I was confused. He's in The Deuce, NCIS, New Orleans.
Yeah,
thank God.
He's a really
timeless.
Yeah, he's a really good.
Oh, The Night Of. He was in The Night Of too.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, Mustafa Shakir.
That's awesome. So. I think we're near the end. I think we're pretty happy with this, guys. Let us know what your what if scenarios are on Patreon. You can there's actually a community tab on there that you guys can go ahead and hit up in comments. I think we did initially right when Patreon started, but we've just never interacted there. But you can hit us up there on Twitter at DJ Talks Trash, at Sam Basher, or at Only Stupid Answers.
You can get the bells from Stupid.
There you go. You can find all of our other social information like Instagram, Facebook. What's that?
Wait, what do you mean Instagram?
Facebook. What's the username? What's that? How they can find us there?
On Facebook.
Yeah.
Only Stupid Answers.
Yeah. You sounded confused by that.
Yeah, I was confused by that.
Yeah. Did you not know? Did you not know what our Facebook was?
You pointed at me like it was yank out the vowels, and I'm like, no, the only thing you yank the vowels out of is Twitter.
I just needed the name. Anyways, you can go to onlystupidanswers.com. You can find out all of our information there. Also, where you can listen to the main episode, which is a bunch of places.
And also, don't forget.
Only Stupid Answers.
See, it's confusing, right?
I just gave you a name. But anyways, you can go there to find all the information. Check it back next week for our Justice League Thor Ragnarok breakdown, because that's going to be fun. But also, enjoy the holidays.
Yes!
Our main episodes are going to have a bunch of fun guests over the holidays. So, and I know a lot of people don't always engage with YouTube and podcast stuff, but whenever you do come back to it and listen to it, they're a real treat. We did something special for you guys. We have some guests who haven't come on before, or we've never had these combos before. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
You know what I mean? But also just check out all of our other Patreon stuff, because starting the new year, we have new tiers coming in, and they're real cool. They're real cool. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. DJ, final thoughts?
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Live stream people, we're going to do a second one right now.
What? That was an hour.
That was. We're going to do another one. All right, guys. Shout out to Kate Houlihan, Maggie Whitmer, Terry Fournier, Ludmila Duer. I think you're new here. I don't remember your name in previous.
I'm going to dump this real quick.
Dump it. Dump it. And I think I saw another person joining us. Or maybe that's everybody.
You're there.
Guys, let us know in the comments what you thought of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s premiere last night. I'm the one reading it, so you can spoil it if you'd like.
Yes, good. Thank you for not spoiling it.
Yeah, because DJ has not seen it yet.
But I am excited.
You should be. I really... No, Kate, don't leave. Don't leave. Don't leave in yet. We're doing another episode. Let us know what you thought of S.H.I.E.L.D., because I was able to comment while you guys were talking. I really liked... Kate said that Frank should just do it with an axe. There's never anti-axe people. I was about to say anti-axers, and I was like...
that would be much more violent.
Yeah, it would be, right? That's what she said. She said it would be way worse than shooting people from a distance, because you can just have people shot, little blood spurt, they fall down. But imagine him taking an axe to people. Gross! But guys, let us know what you thought. Axeman.
That's a classic Marvel hero, Axeman. We just merged him with Punisher.
Yeah.
You know what I had a thought?
How dare they?
This is just for you video people. I was thinking how interesting it would be, because they did a really good job humanizing the Punisher, and you really got a sense of how much family mattered to him. If in the comics or the shows, Punisher kind of became responsible for a group like the Runaways.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, but wouldn't that be an interesting...
It would be interesting, but no, also, Jesus Christ. Like, if he was
to be that dad to them, and he has to bring back all that dad shit that he's buried
deep. I'm gonna be honest. He doesn't like sons.
He doesn't.
He does not like sons.
I feel like that probably only works with the John Bernthal Punisher. Like, comic book Punisher has lost his humanity long ago.
Yeah, you can't bring that back.
Yeah,
Vietnam kind of took it out of him, because that was... I've read... I don't think I can come back to Max. I'm gonna be honest. Punisher Max is real good. It's definitely not bad. It's something I'll read when I really don't have anything else to read, because it's good.
Yeah, but it's...
But I power through stuff. Powering through that is like when I powered through Black Mirror and I wanted to jump out of a window.
How far did you get? Are you still in Bourne?
Yeah.
Bourne's pretty rough. It gets a little less, because you leave Vietnam, it gets a little less harrowing.
Yeah.
But it's still like...
When he killed the rapist and then killed the woman being raped, it was sorry guys, little spoilers.
It's for Punisher Born,
and I don't mind spoiling that, because that is rough.
I do recommend Punisher Born, though.
It is. It's his justification for it is.
It's dark.
Super fun.
Hey man, if you thought, John Bernthal really made Punisher cuddly, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Read, if you want to flush that feeling out, read Punisher Max. Because he's a monster.
If you're like, this isn't the Punisher, we'll give you Punisher.
Yeah, we'll give you Punisher. I was reading a review, AV Club's, I think it was Carolyn Seedy, it was a woman reviewing it, and she commented, like, Netflix thought it was getting at softcore porn quotient with the Madani Billy sex scenes, but the real porn is Dad Frank. Like, when he's interacting with, like, Micro's wife, like, fixing stuff or whatever, it's like, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, he's real sweet.
Yeah, he's real sweet. Yeah.
But he also murders people.
He sure does. All right, guys, we're going to start our Justice League Thor talk starting in 3, 2, 1.
What?
If. What if? Is that our theme song?
Yeah.
Just a quiet, confused if.
If?
Oh, we should do that. Okay, I got it. Ready? Here's your intro for the audio stuff. Ready? Here it comes. Hey, guys, welcome back to the bonus episode. Select my new character.
Yeah.
There's no name, and he'll never come back again.
You don't know that. Maybe it'll be a big hit with the kids.
Maybe they'll love that 2 seconds that they got right now in the bonus episodes. Guys! Happy holiday! Welcome to part 2 of our What If series.
What have you been doing for the holidays?
Wait. Welcome back to our What?
If.
Series. That's what we'll do every time.
If?
Because there's a question mark at the end of it. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's fun. I like when we do back and forth. That's always fun.
We should do the whole episode that way.
There you go. Every thought, we just have to like pick up from it, and whatever we get at the end, that's...
I feel like if we got too
pitch.
good at that, if we were literally able to finish each other's thoughts, we might need to take a break.
We might need to get new friends. we might need a third person on the podcast. That's too much. My holidays are great. But guys, hope you're enjoying this. Hope you're enjoying our main episodes. We've had some special guests on there.
I'm so excited about them.
And everyone who's watching live video format when we recorded this early, you don't know what we're talking about. I broke the veil. Anyways, guys, let's talk about some what ifs.
Yes. So for those that don't know and didn't check out our last week's episode,
how dare you?
What if is basically we take a popular movie or show and we wonder what could have happened if things had played out a little differently. This isn't us. Yeah, this isn't us being like, oh, we know how to do it better, because we don't. It's just it's just fun fan speculation among friends and fans alike.
Exactly. Last week we talked about The Defenders, which was an easy thing to fix.
Yeah.
Not easy, but easier. And then we talked about Punisher,
yeah.
because while that show was super solid,
yep.
well, pretty much all the way through, when it does get rough, we had some ideas for it.
Yeah.
And some ways of it moving forward if they got a season 2.
Ooh.
So if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and check out last week's episodes on our patreon.com/
Only Stupid Answers.
There you go. And now we're going to be talking about the big boys of the year. Justice League.
Yes.
And Thor Ragnarok. Which, surprisingly, guys, both of those can be improved. They can. One of them, you guys would be like, "Oh, it was too funny. It was perfect." It was like, story-wise, it can definitely be better and tightened up. Not that... by the way, for me, I enjoyed both of these movies quite a lot.
I enjoyed both of them, too. I think...
you didn't give Thor an A+, so I assume you gave it an F.
Yeah, I hated it. No, that's the kind of the thing. I actually probably enjoyed these movies roughly similarly. However, the response from the rest of the world was drastically different. Mm-hmm. So the tone of my response was probably a bit different. Even though I think they both have their merits and they both have their flaws. That's all superhero movies, man. Like
all of them.
We treat some of them like they're godsends, and very few of them are like really great. Most of them are fine.
Remember Logan?
Logan's real good. Wonder Woman's real good.
Yeah, those were two really solid movies. They were treats. They were, and while Wonder Woman had elements that were similar to the rest of the genre that it's in,
it still executed it on a special
level.
Oh
no, it nailed it. Like it nailed multiple things. My only nitpick with Wonder Woman is less slow-mo.
My only nitpick with Logan is there's a couple... some of the pacing stuff is like...
It's a little confusing.
Revisit the conversation twice? Like, whatever.
How did she drive like 3 states
and
not get stopped?
Yeah.
There's a question like that.
Things, but I think... Like,
there's our what if that we fixed it.
Exactly. Those are... If you're not Logan or Wonder Woman and you were a superhero movie this year, you're probably fine.
You're fine.
Fine to good.
Yeah.
Fine to good.
Yeah. Spider-Man, great. Guardians,
fine to good.
Guardians is rougher.
Guardians, I think all the other movies were fine to good.
Spider-Man was my favorite Spider-Man movie.
Dude, oh man, I love the Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
I know.
So much. That movie means so much to me.
You have a full Spider-Man costume tattooed under your tank top, your
and it's
t-shirt.
That costume. And that's not even the best costume, but I have that costume.
You have that one, and
tattooed.
it's like 3D, so you can kind of feel the costume.
Yeah,
you paid a lot for that.
It's not meant to be. It's scarring. The tattooer didn't do a great job.
No, he dug in,
but
he didn't realize he didn't need to dig in with the needle, but he did anyway.
He did anyway.
Yeah, no,
but he was new. It was cheaper.
It was cheap. Hey, it's about saving money, kids. That's the big takeaway from our podcast. Save money. Get a shitty tattoo artist. Anyways, guys, also, by the way, now that we're on this, I have to bring up, don't ever let your friends test out tattoos on you.
What the fuck?
Everyone's like, my friend was testing, so he just sticking it here on my arm or on my leg. And I'm just like, I have tattoos because they mean something to me. And I planned them out for a very long time. Mm-hmm. The one on my ankle was the first one I ever got. That was 6 years of planning. That was like, I knew that I wanted that and I got it. Also, very easy to hide. Mm-hmm. Even if I did a shoot, I could just put some stuff around my ankle, like some makeup or something, and I could hide that. Also, who shoots someone's ankle in a movie?
Stockings.
Never. Stocking. I can also wear socks.
Yeah.
That'd be fine. Like, that's totally easy. Don't let your friends be like, look, it's a crooked line on my arm. Isn't that cool? It's like, no, it's not. Probably alienated some people. I just think that's really dumb, and I know you need to practice.
Hey, listen,
don't do it on your
lessons,
friends. Man. Get a cat. Do it on a cat. That's also mean. Don't do it to animals. That's mean. Unless the cat wanted it.
Apparently, if they do it on Ink Master, they do it on like pig hide.
There
like,
you
not
go.
Living pigs. Like,
yeah.
They
have like just one really tattooed pig that walks around. Isn't that cute?
That'd be a pretty badass pig.
It would be. Just shitty tattoos all over.
I
mean, once they got good, they tattooed over the shitty ones.
I want a tattoo that looks like a prison tattoo. What are you talking about, Sam?
Hey, what are you talking about? I want a full neck. I want just neck tattoos. Anyways, let's talk about
tattoos all over my body.
Let's talk about the neck tattoo of the DC. Oh no, just kidding. That's mean. If you have a neck tattoo, it's great.
The neck tattoo of the MCU is definitely Thor 2.
There you go. Oh god. Anyway,
one of the worst MCU movies, Thor 2.
It's rough. It's real rough. It makes no sense.
Yeah, Thor 2 is real rough.
Hey, but we got the red color for the Infinity Stone, so we're past that.
Incredible Hulk isn't bad. I feel like that's most MCU movies. They're not bad. The worst ones are like, it's fine.
It's fine. Iron Fist and Inhumans are bad.
Yeah, but those don't. Fortunately, the movies get to just skate past those. They don't have to. They get to be untouched.
Yeah. All right. So, way off topic.
Yeah.
Let's go into Justice League, What Ifs, and Thor Ragnarok.
Do you want to start with? Do you want to do it in chronological like we did last time? Do Thor first and then Justice League.
Let's do it. Let's start with Thor because I really enjoy this movie, but there's a way there's a lot of elements they're playing around with here.
So much happens in that movie, and all of it is fun. All of it's fun. It just doesn't necessarily like.
Gel.
No,
it doesn't gel. Did it by the end of the movie? Did it all come together? Yes, it did.
Did it?
I mean, it got to an ending.
Yeah, the ending happened.
That logically makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can put a puzzle like you can. You know when you break a bottle and you try to glue it back together. Classic, you do it all the time. Yeah. You'll miss pieces, so you're like, well, I got a bottle again.
I can still drink out of it.
Yeah. But it's not right. Yeah, I'll cut my lip on it. It definitely leaks.
Do you know when everybody breaks a bottle and then tapes it back together and then still uses it? Classic. We have all been there. Shards, just falling shards down your throat.
Hey, it makes you stronger, makes the insides tougher. But yeah, let's start with Thor.
You like this movie a lot. So
I did.
You, what would you like?
What if it would to make things a little more seamless? Odin's dead already. Let's hop right into it. Here's a quick overview. If you didn't watch the movie, you just want to hear how we'd make it better. Thor comes back. Loki's in charge of Asgard. Then they go look for Odin. Odin dies. He turns into spores to make little Odins all over the universe.
Don't forget Doctor Strange is there for a minute.
Oh my god. Doctor Strange is there to help find Odin because he's hiding somewhere, and Doctor Strange helped, I guess. But by Odin dying, it brings about Hela, their lost sister they didn't know about, and they try to go back to Asgard to warn everybody. They get knocked into another planet. Hela kills all of Asgard. Thor finds Hulk on another planet.
Yes.
They escape that planet. Jeff Goldblum's there.
Easily best part of the movie.
Korg's there, and Meek's there. They're both great characters.
By the way, I saw Comic Meek. Comic Meek does not look anywhere near as cool as Movie Meek.
No, he's a lot better.
Movie Meek is awesome.
Yeah, Korg's really cool too. And then you get them back on Asgard. They fight a big wolf. They fight some skeletons. What happens?
They summon the fire demon from the beginning of the movie.
They blow up Asgard, which is also regular people live there, I guess. Like you could move from Earth to Asgard. From like if you're in like Boise, Idaho, you can go to Asgard.
If this was a CW crossover, you'd have people be like, "Oh no, I'm from Earth," and it's like, "Why?
Why are you here? Why?" They were like, "Gods are here." It's like, yeah, but you also kind of live in medieval times.
Yeah.
Like
so, like, why did you?
There's no. I don't know if there's medicine here.
Story-wise, why aren't you just from Asgard?
Yeah, like Odin has that special bed that he's in, but you don't get to touch that magic bed that heals him. So this sucks. Yeah. This sucks bad. Anyways, by the end, Hela dies. Asgard's gone. They leave on a ship. Blah blah blah. I did a poor job of explaining that.
No, I think you're pretty on point.
A lot happened in the movie. Yeah. So as a way to fix it, I think. For some reason, Odin goes. I would like to have Thor going back to Earth to find out, like, to go visit with his friends, looking for Infinity Stones. Maybe if he can get some hints somewhere. Yeah. And that's when I want him to accidentally run into Odin, or he goes to Doctor Strange. He knows there's a sorcerer there to maybe use magic to track where the Infinity Stones are. Because instead of just looking, that's what he did. He just did the equivalent of an Easter egg hunt in the universe. Maybe go for help. Go to Doctor Strange, and he's like, "Oh, how's your dad doing?" Or something like that. You get a fun hint where Thor investigates, and then Odin dies because he's not being taken care of, or something happens.
Why does Odin die in that movie?
Not sure. Because he's supposed to die and then go to Valhalla, and that has to happen during battle, so it doesn't make sense of how he died. If you just want to abandon all... They abandoned a lot of Norse mythology in this movie, really. And then that causes him to go back to Asgard, and you still get the fun like other Odin, running the show, and you find out it's Loki. That's pretty fun. Still, that you can have some fun with that because that was fun to see Matt Damon playing Loki.
I wish that play mattered. I thought that play was giving us important like backstory information that pertained. I thought it was a creative way to give us backstory.
It was a way to get people. It was a way to get people caught up on where Thor's at. For people who definitely didn't go watch the Dark World. Yeah, because
but it didn't. But all it did was basically Loki's backstory. It didn't tell us what happened in Dark World. Oh, I guess him dying.
It's him dying, and then that's why it was
Fair
like,
enough.
It did enough there. So you still get that, but Thor is pissed, and it would be really fun to see a pissed off Thor.
Yeah.
But also, since Odin's now dead, the portal where Hela is coming from is on Asgard, which makes a lot more sense than a random field in Norway.
Yeah.
And that way there's still emotional weight, and you see that Thor is trying to deal with losing his dad, because we got none of that in this movie. It was like, jokes and stuff. Still love that, but there needs to be a little weight. And so him being angry and maybe making jokes throughout this would work. It's still...
Sorry.
We don't know what he broke, everybody, on the audio podcast. DJ broke a lot of stuff just now.
It's a mystery.
It was very quiet, but he broke a lot of stuff in his apartment. But then you have Hela showing up, and I would like to have Thor try to take her on. That's when you get the hammer crushed in Asgard, and then you have the rest of the army showing up to try to take her out. It doesn't work, and he basically gets knocked off the planet because he can't fly without the hammer.
So it's not much of a planet either. It's more just like a floating disc in space.
It's, if you want flat earthers out there, this is what it looks like. But he gets knocked off, and he has to tumble through space into a wormhole, and you get to Sakaar.
Yeah.
That works that way. Maybe Loki goes too, and he's been there.
You could even have the battle be at the Rainbow Bridge. By the way, quick question. So I rewatched Avengers recently. Mm-hmm. They mentioned in that movie that the Rainbow Bridge was broken, which, if I remember correctly, happened in Thor.
Yeah.
How did they fix that?
Odin rebuilt it, which they never explained,
right.
Which is a problem. But it makes sense why he could rebuild it. And also, they did explain in Dark World that there are other avenues to get around the cosmos. That's not just this.
Okay.
This is the direct line to wherever you want.
Maybe your big battle with Hela is happening at the Rainbow Bridge because she was trying to get off Asgard, and so in the battle, the Rainbow Bridge explodes, sucks in Thor, and that's how he ends up on the planet.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or you have him destroy the Bifrost again, just cause for funsies. He's done that before. He can do it again. And as the Hela gets pissed, and that's when he throws the hammer. She crushes it, and you're like, oh no! You thought Thor was being the hero. Now he just trapped everyone on Asgard with Hela, and then he gets knocked off. So there's more of a urgency for him to get back. There is a way, writing-wise, to make this make sense to still have humor in it, which I think was a big plus for this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was...
You just need another... I just felt like this movie needed... Same with Spider-Man Homecoming. I just felt like they needed another pass or two on the script to really, really polish it. Really make it all kind of work together instead of just scenes just happening in a vacuum. You know?
And then from there, you have Loki escaping to Sakaar as well. Maybe he's been here before. Have a reason for him to be here too, instead of just tumbling out as well. If we're going along this line, Loki's here. He's been here for a while. He has friends here. He knows the Grandmaster. Of course he does. They're immortal. They know who this person is. Other immortals know other immortals in the universe, even though it's big. They're technically still in the same galaxy as Earth, so it's it makes sense why they know each other, which would be really fun. From there, you still have the Hulk introduction, but explain more where he went. That maybe do a flashback of not just in plain footage of what happened. Have him trying to steer the ship, or something happens and it gets sucked up. Or
I'd also like some thematic. What's the theme of the movie? What are we trying to say? And have that tie into what Hulk's going through. Because I was really bummed watching Avengers again, because Mark Ruffalo is so good in that movie. Yeah. And he does such a great job making Bruce Banner be a person. And I feel like all of that was just thrown out for Thor Ragnarok. I just don't have any sense of Bruce Banner as a human being anymore.
But
which is a bummer.
To be fair, we never had a sense of who Hulk was too. And in this, it did set up that Hulk's a person too.
Yeah, like a 6-year-old.
He is a 6-year-old, which is fine because it's the part of his brain that if you want to go comic book route, it's the part of it's the personality that manifested when he was abused as a child by his dad. If we don't talk about that, that's totally fine. But this is still a part of him. This is a manifestation, or it's his insecurities, it's his it's his impulses that are
Yeah.
there. It's pure. What is it? It's id.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And like
that's what they did in Ultimates too. That's why he fucks and kills everybody.
Yeah, which you can still have it, but it's also something that's not. It's so impulsive that it hasn't developed yet.
Yeah.
Hulk's been able to develop a little bit, so he's not totally impulsive. He's able to make friends, and it's like this is another personality.
His friendship with Valkyrie.
Yeah,
probably because Valkyrie was my favorite character in the movie.
Yeah, and so from here you can actually explain a little bit more what Hulk's doing here, and you can have Hulk and Thor kind of. I would like more of them talking. Maybe we can brainstorm of what that would look like.
Yeah.
But I'd like more of that, and from there you can have your escape, and from then on it makes sense. Like Hela's hunting people down. Heimdall was in prison on. Oh, this is how you have it. Heimdall like helped destroy the Rainbow Bridge. You think he got sucked up too? No, he escaped, and he's trying to move the Asgardians around fast enough so that Hela can't get to him, and that he's single-handedly being like Rambo. He's saving an entire civilization right now. He's trying to save the normal people who live there. So he's a badass, and that way you make Idris Elba cool, like make him cool.
Yeah.
In this, he looked cool. I liked his hair and I liked his cloak and everything, and he had a sword and he was doing stuff. The whole conversation with Thor when his eye color changes and he can see what Heimdall's showing them, really cool. But make him more important. And by the time that they get back, they can have Asgard escape. You can still have Asgard blow up if you'd like. Yeah. But having Hela show up on Asgard is a way to say that no, she's literally tied to it. Yeah. She would go out and fight, but she always has to come back here.
Yeah, you could even have her be, because she's death. She could be buried with all, like maybe it's a switch off. Maybe once Odin goes to the afterlife, she's able to leave. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that's the balance. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Or like maybe there's a way to like say that she was conceived like. Literally, she was conceived during like one of his bloodiest like periods of conquering the other realms, so that like she's the embodiment of that bloodthirsty nature.
I've always wanted an opportunity, and hopefully I'll get one at 1.2 to write something specifically with the new gods, ideally. But I'd like to explore the idea of what a god looks like in these comic book worlds, and I think it'd be interesting to go with the idea that gods are the manifestation, an idea brought to life. You know what I mean? And so that kind of a lot like American Gods. Mm-hmm. And so maybe with that, if you went with that idea that Odin is a god, Odin is humanity's idea of an all-father brought to life, and through life he was able to create Asgard. However, every action has an equal but opposite reaction. So in creating Asgard, allowing Asgard to exist, Hela is forced into existence because if Asgard represents life, then there must also be death. Mm-hmm. And he concentrated that energy into Hela. Uh-huh. And so that's how they're tied. Because they keep saying they're tied, and it's like, how?
Yeah.
And why?
In this, they're aliens. And it's the same thing as humans being connected to Earth. Humans can exist without Earth. Like, that's make it... Yeah, I like the mystical element that, like, it's like a thought, like a birth from thought, or like belief that like these people have power because people believe in them. It doesn't work so much anymore, but because there was so much belief in them at one point, they can still exist.
Or maybe people believe in them because there's 9 realms. Maybe enough people believe in them in the other realms.
Yeah, and
maybe that's why they don't show up on Earth anymore.
And the resurgence of the Avengers actually makes Hela's power even stronger because now people believe in Norse mythology again. Yeah. In Spider-Man: Homecoming, next to when Aunt May and Peter are having dinner at that one restaurant. Yeah. Next to it is a Church of Thor, which is really fun.
It makes a lot of sense.
Mr. Terry Fournier in the chat, because we were doing this live, if you guys don't know, patreon.com, they'll plug. He said, the one thing I was wondering, are Matt Damon, Sam Neill, and Luke Hemsworth playing themselves in Thor 3?
I think so.
Loki kidnapped them to do the play, or are they Asgardian counterparts? It would be amazing if they were them. If they were Matt Damon totally exists in the MCU. Yeah. It's not him as a hero. Yeah. It's him as him, and he's stuck on Asgard. Yeah. He's like, well, since Loki now is looking like Odin, he's like, it's basically if God came and say, hey, can you come do a play in heaven for me?
Exactly.
Which is like, that's not a horrible deal. No. Like you're basically getting whatever you want. That would have been a great tease.
Yeah. I think you brought up a lot of really good points. I think for me, I would have had my big thing watching is I think there's a lot of streamlining that could happen. Mm-hmm. So I would have there's the opening sequence is my favorite part of the movie with him facing Surtur. It's so much fun and it's got such cool energy.
And you would have gotten some of that with Hela, him actually trying to fight with the hammer, because it would have gotten more cool elements like that. Yeah. Well, I've got a dragon in this eventually. Like, that was really cool.
But I would start with that Surtur opening, but instead of him talking to a random skeleton, like Surtur, that's like a hell dimension he's in. Yeah. That's where Hela's trapped. So instead of him, he's imprisoned with other prisoners, and the one he's talking to, he doesn't know right now, but is Hela. Mm-hmm. And so when he escapes, when he's confronting Surtur, Surtur's like, no, Thor brings out like, so much chaos in the Nine Realms, and Surtur's like, yeah, because Odin's not around. He's like, what are you talking about? Hela hears that. She's like, wait, what? Yeah. And so when Thor
and you can have a conversation before that where she can say she can feel things changing and she doesn't know what it means. Like she can just tell that the cosmos is changing.
I would also have her have a conversation. Thor tells her his whole backstory, and she tells a little bit about her backstory without the context of Odin and all that stuff. Just like, oh, my father banished me too to teach me a lesson, and as long as he's around, he's too powerful. I can't come back. Whatever the excuses are.
Yeah.
So when Thor saves the day, escapes, she goes up to Asgard with him. He confronts. I would flesh out the confrontation with Loki, and emphasize the fact that Loki will not reveal where Odin is. And so we never go to Earth in this movie, in the version I'm pitching. When Thor reveals that it is Loki, Hela reveals herself, and we find out. And then, you know what? Let's integrate your battle. We have them fighting over Asgard. Bifrost is destroyed. Thor's sucked away, and
Matt Damon, Sam Neill, and other Hemsworth get away.
They're also sucked in. They're somewhere else in the galaxy. They all die.
Or they're on the ship at the end. They're like, we need to go home. We need to go home fast.
But Loki stays on Asgard with Hela, because another issue I had with this movie is Hela is Kate Blanchett is just chewing up scenery. She's doing great, but she's basically given nothing to do with exposition.
That's actually a better thing than him getting away to Sakaar, because it adds nothing. It doesn't add anything. There.
But having him with Hela allows an opportunity for him to face what theoretically should be the ideal version of him.
Yeah,
like he should want to be Hela.
Yeah,
and he gets a chance to be like, wait a second. Do I really want this?
Yeah.
And you basically give his redemption arc, the Scourge's redemption arc to Loki, and I would just have Scourge just be a crazy motherfucker. And give that actor. Why am I blanking? I love him so much. The actor who plays Scourge.
Oh, Karl Urban.
Karl Urban. I think he's great. He's amazing in Dread. Just let him be a bad guy, like straight up, not even redeemable, just straight up mustache twisting bad guy. And Loki is. They're dealing with the rebellion. You get your Idris Elba stuff. I'd incorporate the Heroes 3. I try to incorporate them more so that a way to humanize, instead of like, hey, this is Asgard, this group of people. It's like, I don't know who these people are. Have the Heroes 3 be a part of it.
When Thor realizes, has the first confrontation with Hela and he hasn't lost the hammer yet, have them start falling, and that's when Thor can also realize oh my god, this is a serious thing.
And then it means something, as opposed to we just throwing these characters away. Like, try and make them mean something in the end. Have it be meaningful that they're dying and they're sacrificing themselves for this world, and especially if that's where you want to emphasize the idea that this world means something to these people. Like, that's your moment to do that.
Yeah.
And also in this version of the movie, it becomes a two-hander. You have two protagonists basically, Thor and the character people really care about, Loki.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you give them both of them an arc, and I try to find a way, and I don't quite know what it would be, but you tie their themes together, and I want to say it would probably be identity. Do you and maybe this can tie into the place. Is your identity the place you're born from? Because that's what Loki's dealing with. Like, he's actually an ice giant, so he doesn't really identify with here, but Thor's never really identified with home. Do they identify with each other as brothers? Hulk's dealing with identity because he's basically hidden himself in this Hulk persona.
Valkyrie has hidden her tried to escape her identity of what she is. She is the guardian of Asgard. She's but no, not for the past 10,000 years, however long it's been. She's been hiding.
And Loki's a trickster, and that is his. And especially if you tie in the idea of gods our belief come to life, he's the idea of trickery. And maybe that's how we finally land. Is trickery isn't necessarily evil. So he uses it to trick Hela in the end. You know what I mean? But he's still a trickster. Thor can't trust him. That's just his nature.
I really like this idea. Is that I like your idea of there was one line that Taika used that they're just running full speed ahead towards Ragnarok, which is really cool.
Yeah.
That when Surtur talks about Ragnarok, and you bring up that thought again, that he's like, you don't even understand that how close it is, that since Odin's not there.
Yeah.
And that's also a hint that because Thor has been talking to Hela. So so you have that.
Yeah.
And so Thor takes Hela, they escape together. Because he's it's just another prisoner. He's not that's what you're saying, basically. They go back. And he doesn't even realize. That's basically
where Odin's kept her, basically, is Surtur's realm.
And you're not even understanding how Thor doesn't understand what he's actually doing is actually bringing about Ragnarok. And I like the idea at the end that he's like, you know what, fuck it. Let's go for it. Let's literally let's take it out. Let's go towards Ragnarok, but I can save as many people as I can. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
But he realizes that no matter what he does, he can't stop it. So he's like, fine, I'll embrace it. Like, let's do it. Like,
and it also going back to the idea of identity, like him struggling with being his father's successor, like he embraces that at the end. On
his weird blue throne on that ship, yeah.
And that's why they go to Earth at the end. Is finally Loki reveals where Odin is. He's like, I put him on Earth. And so let's go to Earth, and that's why we're going to go to Earth, is to try and find Odin, see if he's okay.
Okay, so you want Odin to
stay
alive?
Yeah. But I would totally cut them going to Earth. I cut Doctor Strange. If you cut last week's bonus episode, Doctor Strange gets to show up in my version of Defenders, so we still get to have him around.
I did have an idea though that if you still have him catching up with Doctor Strange and like using like if he's looking for if you show I like the Surtur opening a lot.
Yeah.
But if you had a moment where he actually talks to Doctor Strange and they try to like map out where they could be, and he's like, well, I can't. They're more than magic. They are like in the newest Guardians of the Galaxy comic. They talk about how they're not like a thing that the universe made. They're the universe is a part of what they are. That they are a part of what makes the universe work. Yeah. They're not like they didn't come about because of the universe. The universe came apart because of them. Yeah. Which is really cool. He's like, I can't track them, but I can give you an idea of where they are and if they're safe or not.
Yeah.
Which would be kind of cool. And at the end, it would have been cool to see magic versus Hela instead of people with knives and punching and stuff.
Yeah.
That Doctor Strange tries to fight off Hela, and then you get a Hulk Doctor Strange team up. You get your little bit of Defenders.
We'll get that in Infinity.
I know, but you got a little early.
Yeah.
That would have been really early, and then that would have been pretty cool. Also, just because that way you can have like brute force versus magic.
Yeah.
Also, another thing that she mentioned that the people that she was mentioning that Valhalla doesn't exist. Valhalla is what these graves are.
Yeah.
It would have meant more if Valhalla was an actual place and she was bringing them back.
And Mark brought up the idea of that maybe there's like a
I was going to ask you for a second. I was like, wait, where did I hear that? Either heard it on New Rockstars or here.
Yeah, and then Mark brought up the idea that Thor's able to bring back the people from Valhalla, like his mom, which from Thor: The Dark World, she passed away in battle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or was it that Hela brings her back to fight?
His pitch was that Thor there's the good dead and the bad dead. She brings back the bad dead. Thor brings back the good dead.
Oh, yeah. Classic. It's the Mummy 3.
There you go.
Remember when the good mummies version? I haven't seen it. She brings they bring the mummies who built the Great Wall and died all the slaves. They bring them back to life and they fight the bad mummies.
Cool.
And there's Yetis there.
That I'm down for.
It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. It's real. I mean, good for you to try to bring like China, like instead of getting away from Egypt a little bit and getting like Chinese mythology. Cool.
Yeah.
It didn't work very well.
Okay.
It's Jet Li though. If you want to watch Jet Li versus Brendan Fraser.
Who doesn't?
That's what we want.
Yeah.
Want it real bad. They had to recast Rachel Weisz though, because she did not want to come back for that movie.
Oh.
But no, I think besides that, there's a lot of fun stuff that they end with. I think just adding a little bit more drama in the front.
Yeah.
There is a way, and I know I can't. It's hard for me to just say that without giving you a clear cut play-by-play of how you do this. There is a way to have enough drama but also humor to make it work.
Yeah.
To make people really enjoy this movie. That way, when Thor loses an eye at the end, it isn't like something where you blink and you're like, "Oh, that just happened." Like I didn't even when you're watching it, I'm like, I don't remember that happening.
Or when Asgard is blown up, the most memorable part about it is the joke that happens right after.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and when Surtur gets huge and he's fighting and everything, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Make it mean a little bit more. Make this mean a little bit more instead of making the jokes better.
Yeah.
You know, I think some stuff like that. You had a cool tease of Loki has the Tesseract. Of course he does. You know, because of course. And yeah, I think that's about all I'd change. I think adding some more between Hulk and Thor. How would you? I mean, the identity thing is important. Yeah. I think him actually talking to Hulk, and like he does talk to Banner enough, but it's like or Thor expressing to Banner what Hulk was saying, because Hulk and Banner can't talk. Yeah. So it's like he's like no, like Hulk wasn't like maybe you do mention that Hulk did murder some people, but like. Yeah. Hulk made a life for himself. Like he had friends, and like
I wish it meant
he took care of you.
I wish it meant more to me the idea that like they try to make that stake that Banner will be stuck as Hulk if he turns back.
Yeah,
and it doesn't mean anything. Like it doesn't like. Especially we just saw the Infinity War trailer. He's Banner immediately.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's like either ditch that or make it mean more the idea of like emphasize the fact because if I remember correctly. In Age of Ultron, the reason Hulk left is because that big battle with the Scarlet Witch took over his mind. They had that big battle in Africa, right?
Yeah.
And like, there's no version of Hulk that's not a major risk. Open up to that. Yes, the movie's funny. Yes, the movie is fun. Let it be funny. Let it be fun.
And Hulk knows that too.
But have a real moment where Banner's like, I've been this monster this whole time, and I can't. There was a reason I left Earth. Nobody likes me there. But nobody wants me there.
Banner doesn't know that.
I don't want to be there.
Which is a good point. But Banner doesn't know that Hulk made that decision.
No, yeah, but I mean, maybe it's Banner. Get into the self-loathing that's there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and let that be, because I think, for me, what makes comedy really work is when it comes from a real human place. Mm-hmm. And so, again, like you said, I think there's a way to have the humor in there, but having it come from a place, chase it a little bit with a little bit of the sorrow and a little bit of the sadness that's around these characters. Because for one thing, especially with Hulk, that's part of what the human aspect of it is, what makes these characters appealing. Like, I was thinking about it recently, like, if you had the Avengers versus the Justice League would wipe the floor with the Avengers just based on power level. Superman could probably take out the Avengers on his own. Mm. But what that's missing is the idea of, that's part of the appeal of the Avengers, is that I think people gravitate towards them. If you're more of an Avengers fan than a Justice League fan, I would imagine part of that is because they're more human. And they're more grounded. And so losing that in your humor, I think, is a missed opportunity. And since Mark Ruffalo is such a great, again, watching Avengers again, like, he's the perfect Bruce Banner. Allow that sadness. There's a sadness to Hulk. But the main theme song from the classic show, the Hulk show, is depressing, and it's called "The Lonely Man." Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And having that bounce off Thor, and having that say something about Thor and how he sees himself, because at the beginning of this movie, he hasn't returned to Asgard, he hasn't returned to Earth. So what does that say about Thor? And Thor's lost Jane Foster. What does that say about how he perceives himself? Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's connective tissue there, and that maybe Thor and Hulk can see in themselves that they're not perfect, but they work well together. And maybe that's how Thor connects with Loki. Like, I can never trust Loki. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make him not my brother.
Yeah, which they did tap up on, like, a little bit, where he's like, you just stay here, man. No. You like it here. You do well here. Like, which is a really cool line. And then at the end, you pan out. So he's the Grandmaster. He, like, plays games. You realize that, yes, this has happened, but he planned it all out. Mm-hmm. Grandmaster planned it all out. He loves games.
I think my favorite joke in the whole movie is at the end, like, oh, good rebellion. Couldn't have done it without me.
Can't have a rebellion without a dictator.
Yeah. So let's call it a draw.
Yeah, that's a really good post-credit scene. What was the other one? Oh, the Thanos tease. I like the idea of...
Oh, yeah, that was... They've been kind of phoning in the after credits once. It's like the one in Doctor Strange was literally just a clip from this movie. Like, they've been...
Well, just like in Ant-Man, where it was the Civil War tease, which I like that tease.
Marvel realizes they don't need to try as hard anymore.
Oh, the Spider-Man after credit scene was pretty great.
But they already recorded it. It's not like... It was great. I'm not saying it's not great. Yeah. I'm not saying that Grandmaster joke isn't great. Uh-huh. I'm just saying, remember back in the day when for Nick Fury reveal, they hired Sam Jackson just for that after credit scene.
And the after credits in Thor, too.
Yeah, the Thanos reveal, like, it used to be like, this is a thing. This is its own thing. And now it's like, here's a clip from an upcoming movie, and then a joke that we recorded later.
You didn't see the 5 that were in Guardians then. Remember the Adam Warlock tease? The Teenage Groot tease? What else happened?
The Teenage Groot, actually, are the teasers the best parts of these movies? Are the teasers the best parts of these movies?
No, they're still good.
Because I like the Teenage Groot, and I like the that other Guardians tease was weird, because in the comics they're supposed to be from the year 3000. Uh-huh. And now they're all...
No, they're here. Oh, that was great. That was really cool. Ving Rhames, man, I'll watch him in anything. Yeah. He's so good. But I think we've got enough Thor.
Yes.
Still enjoy the movie, but these are just some fun ways to make it mean more, maybe, from a dramatic standpoint, and just as a story, make it a little cleaner.
Yeah, because again, going back and watching
Kate Winslet's amazing.
Yeah. Going back and watching Kate Winslet.
You know,
Kate Blanchett.
Guys, you caught me. They're the same person in my head. Just like Matt Damon and Mark Wahlberg are sometimes the same person in my head. Jennifer Connelly and Liv Tyler are sometimes the same person in my head. There's a lot of people
to be fair, I can't throw shade. Last episode, I mixed up Isaiah Mustafa and Mustafa Shakir.
Mm-hmm. It's the same name,
though. Yeah, in my defense, you know.
Yeah, we don't know too many Isaiahs. I don't.
No, I don't know any Mustafas.
Yeah, Mustafa. Sorry, I don't know any.
Yeah.
But that's fair. So let's dig into the big boy.
Yeah.
The one that I think it might be a little easier to pick apart. Is Justice League.
We sent out a tweet for this, and the only thing we got responses for was Justice League. Nobody had any opinions on Defenders, Punisher, Thor Ragnarok, It was all Justice League. I'm gonna be honest, man. I found structurally, plot wise, I thought Justice League was just as flawed as Thor Ragnarok. Because Thor Ragnarok's a big old mess. Actually, structurally, I think Justice League is more sound than Thor Ragnarok. There are other issues. I think they're both as problematic. But structurally, Thor Ragnarok is a mess, man. It's a fun mess. It's an entertaining mess. It's got a lot of things going for it.
For me,
but it's a mess.
They're equally entertaining, but Justice League definitely has more flaws for me.
Fair enough.
Just example, not going through all breakdowns. How did Batman so quickly figure out that this mother box technology that I've never heard of ever before, but I just heard about for the past maybe 15 minutes, I know that this can bring someone back to life. Now that we know that Batman's smart and he could figure this out, but we didn't hear enough of his logic to figure that out. If you watching it twice,
I disagree. Watching it twice because they in that scene, Cyborg's talking about how his father tried to use it to bring him back, and it was too much energy for him, which is why it wreaked havoc on his body. And the three of them together, too much energy, is why they wreaked havoc on the Earth. And so Batman's like, well, what if your body's basically stronger than a planet? Maybe that energy could be used. I thought that logic tracked.
It tracked enough.
Yeah.
There definitely could have been an extra beat there just to make it work a little bit more. That's something that I needed an extra thing of. Where I'm like, not that I don't believe what they're saying because we're working with fantasy stuff now. It's sci-fi stuff. I'm fine with this. There could have been an extra beat there. So let's hop into Justice League. A way to make this work. We even wind the clock back a little bit more because I think there's a way to, like, starting from Man of Steel, moving forward.
Honestly,
Wonder Woman, perfect.
Yeah, Wonder Woman's basically perfect. Honestly,
we said our nitpicks. I think last episode was like for 2 seconds, and that was it.
Easy stuff, and it's all just like production stuff, which is a bummer because nobody likes to talk about that. It's not fun. Push it back, man. Flash already was well past its premiere date, the date it was supposed to premiere. Put Justice League in the Flash slot. Give it once Zack Snyder bails. Once Zack Snyder's like, listen, I got to deal with my family stuff. I can't do this. I think the responsible thing was to say, okay, because I think Joss Whedon was the right call. I think the things we like about this movie. Probably Joss.
Hey guys, if you want to check out my new Rockstars, I think I don't know if it's come out yet or if it's coming out soon. We did
by the time this goes up, it's probably out.
It'll probably be out. I forget, but we were talking about in that episode things that were in Zack Snyder's cut and Joss Whedon's cut, what Joss added, what they kept from Zack's. It's very interesting. I might mention some as we're doing this episode.
Please do, because I'm interested in hearing more about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that people are like, oh my god, they ruined Zack's. I'm like, no.
Wouldn't it have been great to see the black costume? The black costume was never in this movie.
Also, that could have just been a black and white filter that Henry Cavill used. Also, could have just been a tease, you know, because it just means, hey, the black and white costume means I'm coming back.
Exactly.
Where would he have gotten it?
Exactly.
Where would he have gotten it?
I personally really like that in that moment where he's kind of out of his mind and fighting the Justice League, that it's not, he doesn't get the S shield, because the S shield is good Superman, and right now he's struggling, so he doesn't have the S shield right now. But
fun fact also, because we were talking about it, I'll start listing off some of the differences, and you guys can go for sure correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I got all these right. The line of "Tell me, do you bleed?" bringing it back was Joss's idea.
Of course it was.
Yeah, bringing that back
surprise me
because it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. It's like he doesn't remember a lie. He's like, "Oh, I remember you. You tried to kill me."
And to be fair, like I think Joss Whedon is a very, very talented writer. And he's very good at characterization, which I think is what matters most in these movies.
And building world. Oh, yeah, no, he can definitely, like, when you watch the Avengers movies, like, this is Thor's story. Yeah. He ties back to Loki. This is what Banner's dealing with. It's also a lot. Like, when Thor's falling out of the ship and you're like, oh, he can definitely die doing this because he doesn't have his hammer with him, which is pretty cool. And at Iron Man and Cap, they really nail all what they have to do in that movie.
And so I think he did a good job with that here. But I think once Zack bails, you delay it to... Flash is already on the horizon. We don't know when that's coming out. Let Justice League come out on Flash's release date. Push it back. That's the responsible thing. I don't care. They clearly they care. I don't care about fucking bonuses. The fans don't care about bonuses and all that shit. They want the best movie possible. And while I enjoy Justice League, and I think it's overall, especially after some of those articles come out and you found out all the fucking rigmarole behind the scenes.
We know too much about how this movie works.
I think what we got is actually a fucking miracle. Mm-hmm. The fans want the best movie possible, and I think to give us the best movie possible, you should have pushed it. Mm-hmm. And again, like I've said before, I think most of these movies are rushed, man. They're rushed to meet the deadlines that get out, and I think they need more time for the writing, for the CG, for the whole thing. I think they benefit from that, because rewatching Avengers, rewatching the first Avengers, there's actually some things in Justice League that I think it does better, because I would have to. It's been, what, 6 years? And there's been 24 movies, superhero movies since then. Like, pick up new tricks. But something that movie does really well, especially as it goes on, is it really finds the heights of the different sequences, and I think the best sequence in the movie, we were talking about this before we were recording, is when Hawkeye attacks the helicarrier. So Black Widow's dealing with Hulk, Iron Man and Cap are trying to restart the engine, Nick Fury's dealing with Hawkeye. All the characters are doing interesting things. Thor's battling Hulk too. He gets thrown into that. It's a great use of characters. It's a great action sequence. It's a great compounding of a complex situation, complicating the situation we're in. And then the final fight scene really is a little long. I'm going to be honest with you. I love that movie, but rewatching it, that last battle is a little on the lengthy side. There's a few beats you could cut out of it.
It's the first one.
I know. And that's something I did appreciate about Justice League is it stayed tight. But it doesn't necessarily have, when an action sequence happens, it doesn't what's the word I'm looking for, Sam? Build on itself. Usually it's like, hey, here's what we need to do. That happens, and then we move on. And so it wouldn't have the same raw, like, mind-blowing aspect of the first Avengers on that level, and also because it's not the first big team up anymore. Marvel put its dick on it. It got to claim that one.
Hey, it happens, What DC got the first female-led, female-directed box office hit, best origin movie ever made. Period. Yeah. So I mean, that's not nothing too.
Yeah, but so on that level, I think again, more time you would have been allowed to build more of that.
I was looking up some while you were talking. I was looking up some changes. That's what I wanted to. Some stuff that happened, like how in the original cut, Cyborg, or in the original cut. Let's make this clear, real quick. Justice League, because of unfortunate circumstances to Zack Snyder's life, which is awful, and I'm very sorry for his family. And no one should ever go further than that about talking about what he did for this movie. Yep. He did not shoot a lot of this movie. He shot a good chunk. Yeah. But because of what happened, he chose to leave. That means that they stopped making his movie. Yeah. Joss Whedon stepped in. He had no time to write a story that made sense for him to direct. Yeah. He tried to take what was there. He tried to maybe improv some lines on the spot, write some stuff down when he went home, and come up with some stuff. He wrote some pages, and then he had to go forward. That's an impossible task. It's like when Peter Jackson, Guillermo del Toro was supposed to make The Hobbit. Yep. And he bailed, and then a couple months before, Peter Jackson was like, fine, I'll do it. Like, I'll do it.
And again, it's one of those situations.
And he was writing on
set.
Push it. Yeah.
Push it back.
Yeah.
Also, don't make The Hobbit 3 movies, you fucking idiots.
Money. Everyone saw it. They made a lot of money. But some stuff that they changed, like Cyborg, they're supposed to see with his mother. And from what I've heard is that Cyborg, in one take or in one draft of the script, he was supposed to be responsible for the death of his mother. Whoops. With his body losing control and stuff. Don't need it. And I'm fine that they didn't talk about it. If his mother died in the same car accident, that's fine. I mean, that sucks, but that's fine story-wise. One of the cool things that I wish was still in the cut, this is from Zack Snyder's cuts, there were going to be two things. If Steppenwolf was a better villain, this would have meant a lot. When he gets boomed away, the Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman were supposed to look up in the boom tube and see the figure of Darkseid looking back down at them from something, which would have been really cool. I think that would have been really fun, and also maybe have his Omega beams shoot down and make the Omega sign on the ground. Do some cheesy shit like that.
Or maybe he Omega's Steppenwolf.
Yeah,
maybe that's how Steppenwolf dies instead.
You see the boom tube all of a sudden open up with Steppenwolf about to he's not making it. All of a sudden opens up. He failed him, so he killed him. Or there was another take where Steppenwolf goes back to Apocalypse. Darkseid kills him there because he was a super failure. And if Steppenwolf was had more time to really grow as a character, him being killed by something else would mean a lot. Yeah. But we got what we got, and that's fine. They established enough times that fear is what they feed on. So
actually, I like that, and also I'm glad because I can almost guarantee this wouldn't have been in Zack Snyder's version. I'm glad that none of the Justice League killed Steppenwolf.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine if you stabbed him or whatever like that. Yeah. You broke his axe, whatever. You punched him enough times that he's he ain't doing so good. Yeah. And there was another cut that I thought would have been really interesting, that the mother boxes spoke. And that
you told me about that. Sounds cool.
That Helgra, I can probably get the name because it's fake. The mother of Steppenwolf, her essence and her power, because clearly Steppenwolf just has power, kind of like how Diana has this godly power. He's a new god. He has something that's maybe even stronger than that inside of him. So his mother is like the embodiment of that power. Her power got split up between these 3 mother boxes, and her essence is inside of them, and he can literally commune with it and talk with his mother. In no way of any cut I ever saw explained why that there was a millennia of them waiting, and finally when Superman died, that's when they were like, oh, thank God, now we can go. Like, doesn't make sense. There's thousands of years before that why they didn't attack. Also doesn't make sense why the Green Lantern didn't take any of the mother boxes.
Yeah, take him into space. But that Green Lantern dies, so the new one would have had to have been...
Oh, good reason. Yeah. Good reason.
Another thing I thought about is... The one thing that really doesn't... Again, I think all the logic of this movie tracks from one beat to the next pretty solidly.
Yeah, and in the original cut, Joss Whedon had to figure out a reason why the Justice League was going to go stop Steppenwolf, but more so what they were going to do. Because were they going to punch the mother box until it broke apart again? Like, there wasn't a plan there. And so he had to flush that out with exposition from Cyborg and so on.
Yeah, and so I think he did a good job. Finding out all this stuff, I think Joss Whedon actually did a really incredible job making it at least make sense. Yeah. If not having it reach the heights that people wanted, at least make sense. Yeah. Except for Aquaman. And
he needs more. I think that probably was cut. Yeah.
I wonder if it was cut, or I wonder. This is one of the few times. Like, is this one of those situations where you release, since Themyscira and Atlantis are actually big parts of this movie? Do you release Wonder Woman and Aquaman before Justice League? Although it's a little hard. I understand. Like, it's hard to. I feel like Justice League is a bigger brand than Aquaman, and especially Aquaman has that baggage. So you introduce a badass Aquaman in Justice League. Then I get that.
Or do you introduce Flash first? Or no, it's pretty cool. I like the newbie aspect.
I like the newbie, and you already have the series, so people are on board with Flash as a character. But another thing you could do, I thought about, again, watching Avengers, it was interesting how, since Loki was the villain, how Thor factored into this movie. And I wondered if, like, you could basically cut and paste an aspect of that and have... Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. When you could have Steppenwolf have an agent on Earth, like somebody that worships Steppenwolf, and what if that was Ocean Master? And so Ocean Master is kind of the Loki to Steppenwolf, and he gets to be, in one you get maybe a little bit more grounded fight sequence, at least one more grounded fight sequence, and then you get to flesh out Atlantis a little more. But now you're pushing the movie to like Justice League, I think, is 2 hours 20 minutes. Both Avengers movies are 2 hours 20 minutes. Justice League is just tight 2 hours. I'm being honest, especially timetable, CGI, all that shit is probably for the best. Yeah. But if you're gonna flesh out something, I would flesh out Aquaman's, because the conversation with Mira makes no fucking sense. Because he shows up in Atlantis, but then he says he's never been there before. And he doesn't know who she is. Okay. So why is he there?
Rewatching it, when did he? I don't remember him saying he's never been there before.
He says he's never met his mom. She's like, your mom saved me. It's like, well, good for you. Now she dropped me. She dropped me on the doorstep and she never came.
But he
back.
knows his mom is dead. He knows his mom's dead.
All right.
So see, that's where it's like a little like, I think he's been there before, and he asks for the suit in the trident. The Quindent. Okay. Well, if you get that wrong before I kill you in the comics, there's 5 points.
They call it a trident, all right.
But for how stories could go in this, the way this to make this work a little bit better, I like the introduction of. I maybe explain more why Batman is investigating these boxes. That's never addressed. Why is he looking for these boxes? That's never.
Well, because it's in Luthor's notes. Yeah. They say that they're in Luthor's notes.
Luthor's notes also had branding for the superheroes. He never looked into why they had put branding there. It's like, there's lightning bolts. Lightning bolt. There was he's in the water aqua thing. He couldn't see the belt. He couldn't see the belt. And I think he's also wearing jeans. Like, I don't know why he made the A.
Flash didn't have a costume yet. Why the lightning bolt?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's silly. Like, why he did that. So it's like, why is he investigating these boxes? As simple as it's interesting. Explain a little bit more why he's investigating these specific aliens. He did say, like, they've been popping up. Explain a little bit more where that's coming from. But it's cool that you opened with...
I might have a way to explain that. Keep going.
It is cool that you open with Batman. That you open with Batman investigating this. That way you realize this is a threat that's bigger than him. And that, and you do kind of have that. But make it a little bit clearer of what you're doing. That's a cool intro. And then have him... I think I'd just ditch Luthor's like notes on Barry Allen and Cyborg and stuff. I think just have Batman be a detective on his own and realizing that there's he's been looking into other unexplainable events. Throughout the emails and bullshit. Throw all that out. Just have him investigate.
Yeah, but now you're doing what if on Batman v Superman.
I know, but the reason why, because in this movie he's like, oh, I don't know if Barry's a teleporter or not. It's like, he went from here to here and back again. Like, he went really fast. Yeah. Like, he's a speed, like, he can just move really fast. Then throw out that footage. That way he actually doesn't know what Barry can do, and he just knows that there's someone that's moving around a lot. We got a facial recognition partially, and we can go talk to this guy. Yeah. It would make a little bit more sense. He actually doesn't know about Atlantis.
Well,
remember the picture
if you don't know about super speed, you look at that footage, you're like, yeah, I don't know what that guy's doing. We know because it's the Flash.
But also remember when they're like, we don't know what these boxes are. Aquaman kind of knows what these boxes are. Remember that weird painting in that random bar that he went to? That's a little confusing. That's a little suspect of what's happening right now. Are these the people, descendants of the people that did this? Maybe, but not talked about. Yeah. Like, it needs to talk about it a little bit more. They add an extra 20 minutes. It would give Aquaman some scenes. Yeah. Maybe pump up the jokes a little bit better, you know. But from there, you have Batman starting to put the team together, and that's I like the way that they did it. I like that Wonder Woman was the connecting point for Cyborg. Yeah. And you get a little bit more of that in the movie, but them talking is a really cool because he has part of New God blood in him because of what he is. Yeah. Talking with Diana, coming to terms with that she is part God. She's not a demigod. She's like, well, she kind of is. But, a demigod. But it's weird. It's like, is she a demigod? Because I thought demigods are God with mortal.
Oh yeah, technically Amazons aren't mortal. That's a good point.
Yeah, they are. They can die, and she could probably die. Yeah. But she's something special. She's a tier up from the old gods, which is interesting, and I think that's really fun. I like Batman being a mentor to Barry, but as you start to get into the story, like, they're trying to protect the mother boxes, they're trying to go around and stop it. Aquaman doing it by himself, maybe throw Wonder Woman into that, like, that'd be really cool. Yeah. Or have, like, show Barry trying to, like, run around, like, underwater. That'd be really cool. Like,
on top of water.
On top of water. Maybe there's a way, like, he's fighting up top. That's really cool. But add a little bit more. Yeah. Which I think would be pretty fun. Ooh, eventually when they introduce that Cyborg can make boom tubes, that's going to be really fun.
Yeah, and, you know, stuff the way you can patch up action sequences, maybe when they're fighting Superman, that's when, instead of, like, we're fighting Superman, oh, shit, we weren't watching the Mother Box, Steppenwolf got it. Like, maybe they send Cyborg and Aquaman to deal with Steppenwolf getting to protect the box while Wonder Woman and Flash deal with Superman. To add just a little bit more to those, just to punch up those sequences some.
It did make sense enough for why they weren't looking at the mother box.
Besides, that scene's so cool. Like,
it is. Also,
the fight with Superman's so cool.
To be fair, they're really trying to focus on Superman not killing everybody. Yeah. Like, this is a big deal. Apparently, in the original cut, it's a lot darker. It's him like throwing tanks and stuff. Man, if in the original,
because there's that trailer where Cyborg body checks a tank from a cop, and it's like, I don't need Superman almost killing civilians. Like, every time you mention something like this was in there, like, thank God it wasn't in the movie, man.
Yeah, and Cyborg's reason for attacking it, that's a really cool beat. Yes. I've never really
Is that in the, do they know that that's in the original? Is that the reason the fight starts, or is just Superman just fucking crazy?
I think something happens. I think something else happens. I think Cyborg's reasoning of, like, I can't control my body, and it's trying to protect myself right now.
And that's something I wish they could have emphasized more, is the tension there, because Aquaman even throws away that, like, he might be working for the other team, we don't know. And that's an unexplored, I think that's
also a time constraint, because that's a lot to bring up. Like, if you had some more time to talk about that, Cyborg, like, have him accidentally start talking in another language, and you're like,
well, he did that when he's thinking, and it's a great moment. Like, that stuff really worked. I think it's a solid movie. It's at the very least a solid C that I think could be punched up with more time. But you brought up explaining the alien stuff more, and this idea occurred to me. What if the movie starts, Batman's doing his investigation, and you start with him talking to Gordon, and Gordon's like, there's this guy going just crazy about aliens, and he's claiming to be this fighter pilot that definitely died a few years ago, but he says he's been in space this whole time, and so it's Hal Jordan in an Arkham cell. Yeah, that they think Hal Jordan's dead. According to everybody else, Hal Jordan's dead. This guy claims he's from space, and Batman's kind of like, okay, so you had this ring that you were flying in space. He's like, yeah. Well, what happened to it? He's like, I became afraid. I saw what's coming, and I'm afraid. And so it's not with me now. And so maybe that's where you kind of get more of the alien. Not that you need to convince people of aliens. Superman is Man of Steel is a movie in this universe. You know what I mean? But, like, maybe, I don't know. Maybe that would be interesting. Although I do like,
you could have an amazing scene with Diana with Hal where they use the lasso and he's, like, talking with her, and it's like a therapy scene where he can kind of, maybe he's got fear inside of him, and it's him finally admitting to what it is, to like that maybe he couldn't handle it, like he had this cocky attitude but he didn't know what to do with it, and him finally coming to terms with that, and him being afraid of his dad, that she helps him overcome his fear, and not that she's an anchor for him to make him like a hero, but she assists him like a friend would, and it means a lot more, because a Green Lantern Wonder Woman dynamic would be really interesting, because that's never really been in the comics. They've been at odds, they fought, like, but they make them friends. Like, that's really interesting. Hal can be an asshole still. Like, you can definitely have that womanizing asshole thing, but he can just be honest for a second and like why he's afraid. And him just like digging deep and like trying to help them in any way they could. Like, maybe he has knowledge on Steppenwolf as well because of where he came from.
Stuff. And I think that's like, maybe if that's the way to incorporate Green Lantern. Maybe you don't need to incorporate Green Lantern because you're already doing a lot. I think there could be an argument to be made that like maybe ditch Aquaman for this first one and have Green Lantern, because Aquaman doesn't really add. He's that one thing where he blocks water
for a second. It still gets by,
and then it's just him being strong.
Yeah,
basically, you know what I mean. Like that's his only real contribution.
Yeah.
But he does add an interesting dynamic to the team, and he also adds some diversity.
Also, by the way, guys, because in the comments people are saying like shave the fucking mustache. That's Terry Fournier. And then Katie said just use the mustache and have him grow a full beard. Because
don't do the full beard. But again, that's
when he came back, just like leave that scene.
But I'm saying that's why you delay it, because of fucking apparently is it Paramount that does the Mission Impossible things?
Yeah,
apparently they were being petty assholes, and like Warner Brothers even had their team do a fake beard to show the Mission Impossible team like, hey, it's so much easier to do a mustache, and we'll pay for it.
Yeah, we'll front the cost. Movie. Yeah,
and Paramount was like, nah, fuck you.
Yeah, we need the real thing, and it's like that's when it gets into some artistic stuff where it's just like, guys, their sacrifices need to be made sometimes. Where it's like, if you're gonna get a full Mission Impossible movie, but sometimes he's gonna have a fake mustache.
Yeah.
Are you still shooting Henry Cavill scenes with the mustache, because he's been shooting that for a very long time now.
But again, also,
I know it takes a long time to shoot movies,
and the counterpoint is they could have just pushed Justice League.
Yeah.
So that they could have shot the scenes without the mustache. If I'm being honest, it's weird for me that I get why people focus on it so much, but it's like, why wasn't anybody bitching about Spider-Man's permanently CGI'd head in Spider-Man Homecoming?
Because it was a suit. Like,
but it's a suit, but it was super distracting to me. Like,
really?
Every scene Spider-Man was in, I was like, what the fuck? Because we've had 5 movies of a practical costume.
Yeah. That's not important to me, though. That's really a practical costume to me. I don't understand when people complain about CGI, because they're not actually pointing out things that they're pointing out something that is clearly fake, and that sometimes in movies we choose to just accept because that's how it works.
I'm again with willing suspension of disbelief, but I feel like if you're going to lose your fucking mind over the top lip of Henry Cavill, you need to. Why aren't you freaking out about Spider-Man's mask being like weirdly flat? Like, it doesn't even look human. It looks like a fucking alien head.
Yeah, his eyes are too far apart. In every costume, his eyes don't line up.
So it's just one of those that like you pick. I think the reason people notice it is because it was a new story.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you maybe like there'd be 1 or 2 scenes where you'd be like, maybe.
Yeah.
And
the opening scene is painfully aware. The cell phone footage.
But again, if you didn't know that was a thing, the static and everything, you'd be like, all right, whatever.
Later in the movie, I wouldn't be asking that question. That scene, though, is pretty rough. And also because, like, when he turns his head, if you look, there's a chunk of his face that just doesn't line up for a beat. Not like a millisecond, for like beat and then back up. It's when he turns and you're like, whoa, like that. They had to stop painting pink and they had to paint background for a second. They didn't have time for some reason to fill that in. I would have asked a question there if I didn't know. I'd be like, is something weird? Like, was that a stand-in and he just did mocap later and put his face onto the body of whoever stood in for him? But I think also adding some more time with Steppenwolf. Maybe having...
Or not having be completely CGI. I'm concerned about Infinity War because I think it's going to be a similar problem where so much of the movie is CG, and especially Zack Snyder, because he started this with 300, but a lot of his movies are like heavily green screen. Yeah. And so especially in a situation like this, where now there's massive reshoots and all, it's like they don't have time for all this shit. Like they just don't have fucking time. And so again, with like, there's huge chunks of the Infinity War trailer that don't look as good as I think they could. And I'm worried that it's like, well, it's a trailer. It's like, yeah, but it's also a 3-hour fucking movie where it appears that huge chunks of it are going to not be real.
And we also have 6 months, though.
And they might not have time.
Yeah.
You
Remember
know what I mean?
all the additions to, like, the way the invasion site looked in Justice League didn't pop up until the final trailer. Like, the not the redness, because the redness was already there, but, like, the crystals growing out of the ground and, like, the weird spirally things that, like, were, like, worming their way through the ground. That wasn't in any trailer until the final one, and I'm like, that might be a super late edition.
Yeah, maybe.
And that came out 2 months before the movie came out.
Fucking push it, man. I think think
definitely.
the answer is just push it. Give your team more time. But I think it's with most of, like, why didn't they worry about...
Maggie in the comments said, I had no idea about the mustache, and I didn't notice it.
She said that in our when we did our chat too. But these people don't sign up for the chat. You get to chat with us.
It's really fun. Yeah. You guys all make free offers.
There's another one that is like, why don't people freak out about that CG? And it's just like they don't. I think what happened with Justice League is that people were already tentative because of Batman v Superman and Man of Steel. It's vying for the throne, so it's under more scrutiny than Marvel is, because Marvel already has the throne. You know what I mean? And of course it got dicked over for the scheduling, all this scheduling stuff, and I think that all that combined, and also rewatching Avengers, I think the Marvel movies have done a good job of recapturing the feeling of a Saturday morning cartoon, where they never really ask you to take it seriously. Yeah, and I think that makes critics more forgiving. Whereas the DC movies have placed themselves in
they told everyone,
like, "Hey, take this seriously," or it invites it more.
Well, they literally said, we want to make like Oscar-winning. They've said that we're doing darker movies. We're taking these more seriously. Yeah. This is like grounded, real world. Like, what if Superman's like dick was punching Batman in the face, but dramatically? Yeah. You're like, all right, like, sure.
And maybe if you're comparing it against The Dark Knight, it would be a little harsher. But I definitely think they're being gauged on a different curve than the Marvel movies are, and maybe that's fair. Maybe that's completely fair. Vanny at Vanny J, it can be assumed that the DCU takes place in a time where Robin exists. So what if they had played a role in Justice League along with other sidekick characters? Not a major role, but even just helping Bruce with the scouts or aiding the team in some way. I think Batman v Superman, especially with its long runtime, should have done more with the supporting cast of its characters. Yeah. And I think that's where you should have introduced a Tim Drake, maybe. Or Dick Grayson as Nightwing.
Oh. Think about
and this. Then it would have meant more here.
It would have been, but okay, so you already have Alfred. He got plenty of time in Batman v Superman. Yeah. Best part of that movie, arguably, with Wonder Woman in there. He's really great. And he's really great in this movie, too. Yeah. What if he went and got Barry? What if, like, he's like, oh, I've dealt with your younger friends before, too. Yeah. I've with your proteges. I've talked to them before, and you have Alfred talking with Barry.
So then what's Batman doing? Trying to get Aquaman? Hanging out underwater with Aquaman?
Yeah, but basically how he gets beat up by Aquaman, extend that out a little bit more. Get to know Arthur more, because they're clearly going to have be at rivals with each other. Yeah. Play with that. Play with the tenderness of Wonder Woman and Cyborg, and then you have Alfred talking with Barry, where it's just like, I've had to deal with hyper kids before, but this is insane. Like, you need to chill the fuck out. And because Alfred helped Batman be human, he helps Barry slow down and take care of himself and learn how to take. You can still have Batman be the mentor, but have Alfred be the one where it's like, Barry, you need to stop. And also you would have scenes where Alfred's making food for Barry and he's just eating it really fast because he needs all those calories to stay on it.
On it. Hayden Williams at Just Saying 59. What if Justice League had a seventh founding member? Who would have been the choice for you, and who would you have cast as said choice? I feel like having Black Canary as a member would have been new and different, with a great spin on introducing her first and then Green Arrow later. I like the idea of Black Canary because it would add another more human character to have more grounded action sequences with, but it's hard to introduce a seventh.
Oh my god!
I feel like this movie was tapped out at 6.
You know how it works. So you have your Hal Jordan pitch, which is really good. Yeah. But remember how Batman's like, well, this siren is what messes with the parademons. Yeah. You bring in, I don't know, the introduction of Black Canary is when it gets tough. Yeah. It's that you have I think the punk rock version of her is the one. I think it's the one you like, and it's a really cool version. And you have her kind of be like an Aquaman level, how she doesn't really want to be a part of the team, but she's a part of the team because she knows she should be. You can have, because I know she comes from an orphanage background where it's just she's doing this because she knows maybe one of her girls got one of the little burp. And one of her friends got turned into a parademon. Okay. Where it's like, this is like a serious threat for her, so she's invested. Yeah. And she uses her like canary cry in the middle of that fight because it would be so cool. And having her try to use that to take down Superman where it actually affects him because of his hearing and his heightened senses, it would mean a lot, but he just kind of like flicks her in the throat, and all of a sudden she
shoots out the back of her.
Yeah, and she's like,
that's a Zack Snyder version.
There you go. Isn't that what you want? You Zack Snyder fans who are going crazy.
Yeah, man. Dev Butterworth at Life with Butter. In Justice League, I would have loved to see some nod or mention of the Thanagarians, as I have many hopes that Hawkgirl will become a member of the Justice League in the future. Where Sam's making that noise because we're burned from Legends of Tomorrow. Also, a nod at the Suicide Squad would have done wonders to bringing the DCU together for me.
If the DCU did a better job with Suicide Squad narratively, it is getting a sequel. So what am I saying?
No.
I didn't make the movie, whatever. But if you've gotten a nod, like Batman knows they're out there. I don't want that though. I didn't need Deadshot showing up. I mean, Will Smith in this movie would have been really cool.
I am not against in that final scene having Jared Leto's Joker. The final like post-credit scene with Lex Luthor and Deathstroke.
Hey,
having Joker and Harley on that boat.
That gold look to the ship looks just like the Joker's teeth. Yeah. So. Pearly golds, yeah. What if he walked out and he just like licked his teeth because he's like, look, I got normal teeth, because that makes more sense.
It's weird. No, it does. His teeth are punched out. I get the teeth thing.
Get veneers.
What I'm not for is the damaged tattoo on the forehead.
Yeah, he needed a new look.
Also, that's so easy to explain away. You just whatever toxins bleached his skin makes tattoos
fade
permanent.
Really fast.
Yeah,
and it makes his teeth grow back. Because I don't want those capped teeth, please. He is already.
Lex Luthor can pay for him.
He was already. Yeah, like look, I gave you upgrades, I gave you veneers, and Harley's fine. She's got her look. She's good. And she goes back to she just wears whatever. I don't care what she dresses as. She can wear whatever she wants. But
she's a grown woman. She can dress however she wants.
But I mean, they nailed her look. They got her look, and so just fix Joker, and I'll be fine with that. Green hair, good to go. Fix his teeth, fix the tattoos. You're good to go. Leave some of the tattoos. The mouth on the hand.
It's fine.
No, it's not. I need that to go away too. And the I need that to go. Give him scars, because that would be really cool. You want him to be like, oh, his teeth got punched out. It was like, yeah, he also got beat to shit a lot by Batman. Yeah. So have him have scars everywhere, and he's just like, no, I get these scars.
Yeah, but you mentioned it earlier. I think a lot of stuff with this, there's a lot of stuff that could have been done differently, and I think it goes back to after the response of Man of Steel. I know comparatively it's done as one of the better ones. It's maybe we take this in a different direction. I'm not a big. It's fun, weirdly, and I feel like I'm weirdly. I feel like I'm alone in this, and I don't know why I am. I honestly feel like each of these movies has gotten better for me. Man of Steel is my least favorite, because that last fight sequence is just bleak, and then him killing Zod. Whereas in Batman v Superman, especially the extended cut, the fight between Batman and Superman is cool. The fight with Doomsday is cool, and it ends with Superman being Superman and sacrificing himself for humanity. And then Justice League is even more of a celebration of those characters in Justice League. And I know it's not perfect, but I see an improvement over each of these movies.
I do not agree. I watched Man of Steel again recently, and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Loner Superman's an interesting take. You need to get out of that, though, to make me like Superman by the end of the movie, because I don't like him.
Yeah.
Don't kill Zod. Literally everyone on the planet's on agreement. Maybe even Zack Snyder. Just don't kill him. That doesn't help you. You can get Doomsday in some other way. Have a baby in one of the birthing pods still be there, and you're like, oh, I'll put my ability there. Look, we'll make my own Kryptonian human instead of being Zod. No. It doesn't need to be Zod. Don't bring Michael Shannon back to that set. He's somewhere. He's off in the Phantom Zone somewhere. Rewatching, I tried to rewatch part of the extended cut again, and that fight for me, Batman versus Superman, is rough, because all it is like Superman's got his powers, then he doesn't, and he gets punched. Then he's got his powers again, then he doesn't, and he gets punched. And it's and finally, at the end, he's just getting whipped around by Batman, and he almost gets stabbed with a spear.
You're being cynical.
I watched it. Me being cynical? I watched that movie multiple times
So have I. And that's the one thing I get back to. Once that happens, I feel like the movie clicks into place and actually starts doing something.
I liked when in the extended cut, if you guys haven't watched it, they have this whole side plot about a woman being bribed by Lex Luthor, and you realize how smart he's actually being. Yeah. In this, it almost makes his weird mannerisms a cover-up to make him look eccentric and not paying attention. Yeah. But really, he's playing this long game.
I want to throw this out there.
Yeah.
I was watching Avengers, right? Robert Downey Jr. does a really good job of like grounding his performance to make it believable. Like I believe in this as a person.
Uh-huh.
And another person that takes kind of like heightened mannerisms, way more heightened than Robert Downey Jr., and makes them believable as human-ish.
Yeah.
What if, for Lex Luthor, you cast Nick Cage?
I would love one of his freakouts. Guys, if you didn't know, Nick Cage is already bald. He's already bald. He's been wearing toupees since the 90s. And they're not always good.
No.
But since Con Air. But that was a long one.
Yeah.
I love it. I was gonna say I love it.
His
teeth and his nose and like his like, and I would so believe in this world. Yeah, this guy is the one who became like. Also, his real life obsession with Superman would translate great.
That's
to Lex
another
Luthor.
great thing. And then the other thing, as
you guys didn't know, Nick Cage's son is Kal.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Kal-El.
So he's a big fan, and I think if you told him like I like how they kind of, I was worried going into Justice League because of Ezra Miller's performance that I thought it'd be too. I'll use the word over the top.
Yeah.
And it is over the top in a way, but they ground it in the idea that his brain is processing things at a different speed, which is why he acts kind of weird.
Yeah. And also, sorry, by the way, Justice League had one of my favorite lines of like, do we bow or show our bellies to Superman? Obviously a Joss ad because he likes to ad-lib and then add stuff.
Yeah.
And clearly that didn't work so much with the brunch line because the brunch line is like,
that line I do not like. I do kind of like the callback later. I don't know if that makes it worth it, but I do. Yeah.
I didn't find the callback funny. I just liked the callback.
Yeah.
Which is different.
Yeah, which is different. Yeah. But so if you told Nick Cage, you're like, hey, what's happening here is your brain, you are so much smarter than everybody else around you, so you can't really like. You're operating at a different wavelength.
Yeah.
And so it comes across like it did in the movie, like kind of twitchy. But now it's Nick Cage doing it. Mm-hmm. I think it could work.
I think that's one of the best casting you could do. Or, hear me out.
Go for it.
Tommy Wiseau. And I know that sounds, I know like the stunt casting because you're like, ha ha ha, Clark, you're so funny. And like, and it's like, ha ha ha, Bruce, did you know Clark? He's my friend. He writes for the newspaper. And then when he's giving that speech where he's doing all those weird mannerisms, it's like, no, it's Tommy, man. Yeah. Like, he's not even acting. There's cue cards up behind the camera and he's doing it. Ha ha ha. Thank you all for coming. And when he puts like the Jolly Rancher in his mouth, it's like, yeah, this is Tommy.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, this is so weird that it's Tommy. And by the end, he's like, haha, you didn't even know. I have your mother right here. And you're like, oh my God, Tommy's actually a huge threat. Like, this is like, we always forget to call him Lex and keep calling him Tommy. And it's just like, oh no.
My dream casting, if somebody was like, hey, so let's say Man of Steel and Batman v Superman didn't exist, like, okay, you're doing a Superman movie, who do you cast as Lex?
Tommy Wiseau.
No, Tom Cruise.
He would be really good.
Because I'd want somebody that in a different circumstance could be the hero and also represents the peak of humanity.
Ooh.
And like Tom Cruise is so, he does his own stunts. So when you see I like the versions of Lex Luthor, you see him All-Star Superman where he's the peak physical condition, because of course he is, because he's competing with Superman, and that's where his frustration comes from. It literally doesn't matter what he does.
Yeah.
So he's peak physical condition. You get somebody that has that charisma, that like somebody was like, hey, I want you to kill your mom, and you'd be like, all right.
Yeah.
Like Tom Cruise has that energy, but he also has that predatory nature that that would be. I don't think he'd do it because I don't think he'd be willing to play a bad guy. Mm-hmm. But I think
he did in Tropic Thunder, and that
he
level
did in Tropic Thunder, and
of
he's also
anger that if he brought that to Lex, it would be really.
If you ever
solid.
saw Magnolia,
no.
He plays like not a cult leader, but one of those self-help people, and it's the same. Like it's just the same energy, and I think he'd really kill it. And I think if you told him like, hey, you're playing the smartest person on the planet, I think you'd buy it in a not. It wouldn't be petulant or annoying. You just buy it. The other one, there was a rumor that Tom Hanks was up for the role. And that would be great because I'd love to see him as a villain.
It would be really interesting. Really quick, Terry Fournier in the comments said, Nick Cage for Mixie Spitlick, but now being totally serious, Tommy Wiseau is Mixie Spitlick. But like seriously think about it. I know it's silly, but if you really think about it, like his like weird grasp on reality doesn't make sense. So he's like, ha ha ha. Everyone's horses now, and like everyone like turns into like, oh, you're so funny, good doggy, and like everything just like starts changing because Tommy doesn't understand how things work.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, I would never need Mixie Spit like in a movie, but like that idea of that casting would be perfect. Also, just like you just make his head a little bit bigger and be like, yeah, of course Tommy does. His whatever alien form he is, he just shoved it into a smaller human form. But inside, of course, he's got a big head. He's floating around everywhere. Yeah. In his head, that's what he's doing. He's like, haha, Hollywood movie. Yeah. Oh, that's what the whole premise of the movie is. He's like, we make Hollywood movie of Justice League. Okay, everyone's acting. Yes, good. All right, and here we go. And like he does it like that. Oh my God, I want that.
What about this?
Here it goes.
Because Paul Dini actually, I think, pitched a Superman movie with Mixie Spitalik.
Sweat marks.
I feel like maybe this is Peter Dinklage as Mixie Spitalik.
He would be good. He'd be fun. Really quick, he said Kate is writing in the comments like, Superman, he's tearing me apart. That's really good. Nick Nolte is also up there for maybe a Lex Luthor or no, he'd be kind of fun as I want him to be like Toy Man because you're like, why is this man making toys? But he's like, look at these nutcrackers. And they start exploding.
I've seen people be like, oh, they just need to throw away the whole DC franchise. Just keep Wonder Woman, throw it away, blah, blah, blah. I honestly, we've got a year till Aquaman. Hopefully, because I don't know about you, I enjoy Justice League. I'm okay if we don't get any stories about drama or any of this stuff for another year. I'm okay if we just let this lie.
All this, I'm like, when Ben Affleck says he wants to leave, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, like, I get it, man. Like,
the fans been shitty. Way too much stuff has been known about your movies.
Yeah, like, so we've got. I say, let it lie. Aquaman. I think Aquaman will be good. I don't know how it'll be received, but I think it'll be good because James Wan does the Conjuring movies, and those movies are excellent.
I think everyone really liked Aquaman. I didn't see too much negative. Yeah, I think they want to know more.
And I think James Wan is a very talented director.
And Nicole Kidman's in that movie. Yeah. Willem Dafoe's in that movie.
So let it. I say let's take the foot off the gas for the Justice League stuff for a minute. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Do an Aquaman movie. Shazam's coming out. I don't know if I need a Shazam movie, but fine.
Hey, I didn't know I needed an Ant-Man, and now Ant-Man, we have Giant Man in the movie.
Yeah, it's true, but I don't know if I needed an Ant-Man movie.
Hey, when would we ever know about Yellow Jacket? Isn't that an important thing to know about? Remember Corey Stoll? He was great.
So just let them do their thing. Do these movies. Hopefully, you'll start building up trust again. People will stop because like we talked about, we worked in entertainment news. Everybody loves DC's either doing great or doing awful story. It's never
highest hitting ones.
It's never just they're making a movie. So just let them make a few movies. I think the best way to get the fans back. I don't know who else you could hire other than Patty Jenkins that would get people back on board with Justice League. But find somebody.
Denis Villeneuve.
But then you start going to darker territory. All this stuff is kind of dark and serious and long.
Yeah.
And so I think you should try. I think you say
brothers.
We allow, or Joss Whedon's in a weird place culturally right now. So maybe not him. Although I am very interested to see what he would have done just from the jump on a Justice League movie. Like if we just said, hey, Zach, you get to sit this one out. Like you know what I mean. But yeah, I'd say maybe do Wonder Woman 2, let Justice League come out 2 years after that, let Patty Jenkins do it, or find another director that has that kind of like goodwill that will turn out just a solid movie, and maybe we can get some distance from it because it's felt like 2 years of just solid like explosions about DCEU.
Yeah. And there's no bad news about Aquaman right now.
Yeah, it's just dial it back.
And just do Shazam stuff. Everyone's happy about Zachary Levi and the kid they cast. And
are they?
They're fine with it.
Fine makes more sense. Yeah. Happy seems like a stretch.
They're just because no one really has too many opinions on Shazam. But they're I like Zachary Levi smiling.
Benefit, like that's why I think one of the benefits the MCU had is it was doing characters that nobody really had like a huge investment in.
Yeah, Shazam's a good
Shazam and Aquaman and Flash. Flash has a popular TV show, so that's a little challenging.
Way too many people know who Gorilla Grodd and King Shark and Captain Cold are now. So it's like if when they do it, they're like, well, you got to compare it to the other one now.
So I just hopefully we get some time. I would definitely want a sequel. I definitely want the Legion of Doom, but give it the time you need to make it. You know what I mean? I'm a little worried if we wait 4 years for another Justice League movie that we might not be able to get some people back. But I don't know.
I think we're getting near the end because we've talked. For you guys listening to the audio portion, it's been a week for you, but we just did back-to-back what ifs, so we can get these out for you guys in time for the holidays.
Because we love you.
We love you. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today on the what ifs. Let us know what your what if suggestions are on Twitter at OnlyStupidAnswers.
Yank out the vowels from stupid.
Exactly. But you can go to OnlyStupidAnswers.com to find all of our social information, like our Instagram account, our Facebook account, which is really easy. It's just at
OnlyStupidAnswers.
There you go. Also, all the places you can listen to our main episodes, which if you guys don't know, if you haven't been checking out our holiday stuff, we had a very fun guest on for the Christmas time one, and for the New Year's episode, there's something very special happening as well, which is very fun. There you go, rubbing your nose on the mic. There you go. Also, check out our Patreon because there's the other What If episode if you happen to miss it for Defenders and Punisher, which was really fun to talk about. The Defenders one was really fun to talk about. I had a good Punisher pitch for how he'd show up. It'd be terrifying.
It'd be the best part of the show.
It could have been. We will never have it though.
Imagine Purple Man getting a hold of Frank.
Scary.
Punisher versus the whole Defenders. I really would like to see a Punisher Luke Cage crossover. I feel like those characters would have a lot to hash out.
Yeah, be real cool. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying your holidays. Have fun with your families and your friends who are in town and everything, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Cool, done.
Oh, we did it, guys. I hope you enjoyed all that. It was a lot.
Oh, yeah, okay, there's the hangout still happening. Hi! Hi, my ears. My ears. Let's see, Full Metal Yellow Jacket. That was from Mr. Terry Fournier.
That's pretty good.
Oh, Denis Villeneuve for a Joker-based movie.
I don't need a Joker-based movie, if I'm being honest.
Too late.
I think Denis Villeneuve would be really good for, one of these movies. I think they're crazy if they don't have Green Lantern, maybe.
Yeah.
I messed up. I forgot to mention something. So now it's only going to be for you video guys. What if, with the Defender shows, now, because there's 13 episodes, you choose 2 episodes in each season that kind of be their own mini movie where another character shows up.
That's cool.
So halfway through Defenders, it becomes, or Daredevil becomes a Daredevil Iron Fist team up. Or halfway through Punisher season 2, Luke Cage shows up and it's a Luke Cage Punisher crossover.
And you change the intro a little bit. That way you have Iron Fist logo.
Yeah, just take advantage of the world you've built. You know what I mean? Maybe even go even bigger and have the Runaways. There's probably a contract reason why the Runaways can't cross over with the Netflix ones because competition. But
yeah, did you know that ABC owns ABC and Fox own a majority of Hulu?
That doesn't surprise me. I thought it was more networks than that, but that doesn't surprise me.
There might be another one, but I know that they both own a majority in there. That's why there was a report that came out that ABC was losing money with Hulu, and I was like, wait, why? I was like, oh, it's because it's a part of them now, and that's why Runaways is a bigger deal. Yeah, they're pushing it a lot more than the Netflix shows. I don't know. We'll see how the Runaways goes. Well, maybe we'll do a what if on that. Maybe there's other what ifs you guys would like us to do. Let us know in the comments and such. I think we're it. I think we're doing it. I think we're all done.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Let's give a quick shout out to Terry Fournier, Kate Houlihan, Maggie Whitmer. There's some other people who joined us. Let me get. Sorry, Ludmila Dur. You can let me know how to pronounce your name properly in future episodes. I think I saw somebody else here. I'm sorry. I'm a little tired. I don't want to scroll all the way back through the chat. Thank you guys all for joining us. We love you. Have fun in the holidays. In the next couple of weeks, we're still doing episodes next week for Super TV Showdown. And the following week, I think, too, for Star Wars and such.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to do Star Wars. It's crazy that there's a Star... It's the difference between when we were working at Star Wars Nerd and not. It's like, oh, there's a Star Wars movie coming.
Thank God I know nothing about that movie. I don't want to know anything. I just want to watch it. Guys, love you. Bye. Bye.